All right, I'm just going to use this music for the intro. Should we start?
All right.
Fuck intros. Who cares? 7/12/2015. Not playing the stupid fucking intro.
No.
This is the Overdose talk show. If you wanted to hear a failure and his sister and ex-girlfriend talk about Hitler, you came to the right place.
You have hit the jackpot, sir. Who wants to hear that?
Andrea is here.
That's going to be a popular Google search.
Shut up. Andrea's here. Hello, Andrea.
Hello,
Come on, this
yeah,
is where
hi.
we just let everybody know who's on the show.
Sorry, you said shut up.
You've done this before. I was talking to her.
Oh, okay.
Tracy, hello.
Hi. Hello.
How are you doing?
Fantastic.
You look great.
Thanks. So do you. Looking real sharp.
Okay, who's Hitler and what do we know about him?
Who's this Hitler
This has
character?
It's been interesting getting into World War II, alternative sort of ways of looking at it and stuff. It's well, the one thing that has stuck out to me so far since we got into this a couple episodes ago, I never really thought about the fact that the U.S. and Soviet Union were fighting together. You know that, but I just never thought about how fucking strange it is that we teamed up with Stalin.
Yeah.
And Hitler becomes the major demonized figure in the whole thing, but Stalin was slaughtering people left and right in just a genocidal fucking rage.
Yeah.
The Slavic,
more than Hitler.
the Slavic peoples who were murdered by the millions.
Yeah.
And we never learn about that in school. We never talk about it. It's still not part of the mainstream perception of World War II is that what we did is team up with one genocidal maniac to take out another.
Right, and how did the U.S. pick?
Yeah. How did they know which one to choose?
Well, it's all...
Which genocidal maniac do we side with?
It's all stuff that it keeps leading back to the same place, which is that there was an international conspiracy aimed against Hitler. There's not a lot else that makes sense, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if we really talked on it. Did we touch on the fact that he was against central banking institutions and shit like that?
Yeah, we mentioned it.
What was it? I think it was called the World Bank or whatever at the time that he
started dismantling, banned from the country.
However, we were so terrible with economics on this show, but he somehow pulled Germany out of its ties, whatever, to the World Bank.
Yeah,
so
and then created 3 million jobs.
Right, and again,
made the economy huge. And,
it's one of those ones that your average childish fucking American can't even discuss this because, oh, Hitler's bad. You can't add any nuance to the discussion. I'm 5 years old forever, and I eat Doritos.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating because, yeah, of course I think he's bad.
Right.
It seems like he is, but I mean, why can we not discuss the reality of the fucking situation, which is that it was, orchestrated and revolving around a bunch of geopolitical circumstances and events, that it wasn't just one maniac and our boys went to save the world,
Yeah.
So I noticed it's so pervasive in our culture that Hitler's the go-to bad guy to say something about, if you time traveled, would you go back and kill Hitler?
Yeah,
that's what's
he's always the one that everyone wants to kill.
Yeah.
But
why? There's a lot of other terrible people too.
Because it's an image thing. It's when they've forced us to focus on one figure and convinced us to make him the center of so much animosity and hatred, it becomes, to me, really, really suspicious.
Yeah,
especially,
absolutely.
Just think about just the Stalin thing. Not to mention everything else. Just think about the Stalin thing. We teamed up with a worse guy than Hitler.
Yeah.
And then have demonized Hitler 50 times what we have Stalin. It's very,
At
again,
least 50 times.
it just makes me very suspicious of who's in control of the historical narrative.
Well, I
you know?
don't even really remember learning about Stalin in school. Like
No,
briefly.
absolutely
Of
not.
course not.
No,
Well,
he was a name that you heard, but nothing ever really. You know, you didn't have an entire
heard-
month that you spent on
Right.
what he did.
I
you know?
probably heard more like stand-up comedy references to Stalin than I saw him mentioned in our textbooks in school. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like I just hear like a fucking shitty Dennis Leary or fucking somebody like that. Some snappy little hey, you make somebody looks like Stalin or whatever. Just I've
Yeah.
heard shit like that. That's all I've ever heard about Stalin. Dumb jokes and whatever else, but they don't fucking tell you about Mao Zedong or whatever, however you say his name.
Yeah.
Pol Pot, all these fucking people, because that would ruin the idea that Hitler was the worst person ever in the world, and it's black and white, simple, and we went and saved him, and our boys,
right.
saved the world.
Yeah, and also
Smart people will tell. There are smart people who will actually say to you, "Yeah, well, that generation saved the world,"
right. Yeah,
as though it's that simple.
yeah,
you know?
because we're saved now.
Right. Oh no, it's great. Yeah.
everything's wonderful.
Again, I'd like to thank
Slavery is over.
I'd just like to thank the military for all of this great fucking freedom we've been experiencing.
Yes.
This is so nice. Thank you.
Outstanding. It really is.
Yes.
And here's the other thing that I've always found interesting as I learn more and more about Hitler is that everybody thinks that everybody who was in a concentration camp was Jewish and that they were only imprisoning Jewish people and hurting Jewish people. But that's not true because also gay people and people who are retarded or physically handicapped or...
Well, now let's not talk about all the justified slangs. Get to some people who didn't deserve
the
to die.
point.
Get to some people who didn't deserve to be slayed.
No, I just think it's kind of indicative of who might be pushing the narrative, which is the Jews because they control the story.
The Jews. It all comes back
Again,
to the Jews.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
It
Basically.
it's absolutely not crazy, but it's one
So-
of those like tinfoil hat things where if you start to say, I'm not sure about the Holocaust, people are like, okay.
Yeah, no, okay, so I'm
Yeah.
older than you guys, so when I
Yeah,
was
you're
in college, the internet was not a big thing, and there was one guy I knew who said like the Holocaust, like that wasn't real, like it didn't happen like that, and everyone was like, that guy's fucking crazy.
And you
like you couldn't even like entertain the thought of having a conversation about it.
Right, and furthermore, I can remember when I was more of like a mainstream history buyer into her or whatever. I didn't have the education I have now.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would just give you a twinge of anger, even. You'd hear like the first time I saw what they call Holocaust deniers, who are actually revisionists, which even revisionist now is like has a negative connotation. I've seen people use that as an insult. Revisionist scum. Really? But the first time I saw what were called Holocaust deniers, I remember being angry.
Yeah.
And it's just a childish emotional response to something you don't understand. It's the same thing as like getting angry about a lifestyle or worldview that challenges your reality, and people get angry about like gay marriage or something, and they're like, how could it be? I just can't, and so it ends up translating into some weird anger or animosity that doesn't really make sense. It's the same thing. It's something is presented to you that really shakes your view of history of the world. You can react angrily. People do it with 9/11.
Yeah, I was just about to say, actually, I had several of those experiences recently.
Where
when I was,
you bring up that you don't buy the mainstream story on 9/11.
Specifically what makes people mad is when I say that the planes weren't really there and that they were CGI'd in later.
Well, you don't really
Nobody
believe that.
likes that. No, but there's an argument for it.
I don't know.
There's evidence. There's a lot of
Dude, I don't think so.
circumstantial things that could point to that. Absolutely.
Not to get derailed too far here, but I don't think that there's much validity to the hologram planes or any of that shit.
No, not a
hologram
hologram.
or CGI added later. I don't know, dude. There's a ton of eyewitness,
Well, wait,
testimonies on
Andrew,
the
are you
ground.
talking
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
there were planes, but they weren't passenger planes?
Yeah, and that
I can get down with that.
and
There-
that the after footage, most of it was manipulated or simulated in order to create the passenger plane view of it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They
No,
edit the plane, or
That's
There's
not.
people who say they were all holograms, and that's a little off.
Well,
that's a
and
little
there's
nutty, but-
there's also the idea that there were missiles, and eyewitnesses didn't see clearly. A lot of them conflict on what they say. Not very many of them say that they see a plane. Most of them describe seeing an explosion.
All right, whatever. You know what?
Yeah, we don't have to
talk about 9/11 for an hour
I know.
because
But-
the point is people will react angrily to having their view of that challenge.
Yeah,
you know?
so
especially in casual conversation. Sorry to cut you off, but it's in casual conversation when people will say something about 9/11 or Bin Laden's death or something, and you can't let it go, and you go, "Well, I don't believe that's what happened," you know. And yeah, it usually does not go well, and usually the person who gets angry about something like that is the person who has refused to research or look into it whatsoever. They just go, "No, it can't. It's just you're crazy."
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that also people don't understand, because one time I mentioned to my old neighbor that I had watched a documentary about some alternate theories to 9/11, and his response was to get real mad and say, "Well, my company had people who worked in New York and they died." Like, well,
So what?
right, like,
Yeah,
like,
okay.
okay, like people still died. Like, I'm not saying that was pretend, but like,
Right, New York's
Yeah.
not real.
like,
Yeah.
it was just like, but that was his immediate reaction, and like he wasn't even listening to what I was saying. Like, people, any challenge to what you were told, like people can't handle it. And
Guys, this is Dabu 7. New evidence emerging that New York City is a CIA hoax.
but I've been there.
Yes.
How do you know, though? I was just thinking that too, because I've been to New York, but you know what? I sat on a bus for like 23 hours and then I got off the bus. I could have been anywhere.
That's true. I took an airplane, and I don't know where it took
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
So New
you-
York's
Breaking.
not real.
If you hens had quit squawking for a second, I
Get
would.
back to Hitler?
I want to get back to what we were trying to do here. And speaking of the Bin Laden death, when I started looking into Hitler and whether or not he escaped Germany and survived, a lot of people say in Argentina or possibly Spain, I guess. You know, when I started looking into that, I saw so many parallels to the fake Bin Laden killing, which is, by the way, 100% fake. End of story. You're
Absolutely.
you're retarded if you believe what the media and government told you happened. You're stupid, and I don't respect you as a human.
Idiots.
So yeah, no. So that's just that. But when I started looking into the Hitler thing, it was just so fucking similar. They released a fake photo. Same shit. There's no proof that Hitler was recovered, that his body was recovered. In fact, the proof that has been offered has been completely debunked later on. You know, Moscow,
Yeah.
the Russian government had bone fragments and shit they claimed were Hitler's for like 75 fucking years, and then took one. They finally let one scientist in there to analyze stuff, and he determined they were from a woman.
Yeah.
So
Well, but that was the skull fragment. So then they said, okay, well that might have been, but the jaw is really
yeah, they
compelling
had
evidence.
they had
not the
a
skull.
dental assistant at his dentist's office identify his jaw
But
at
anyways-
one point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I can tell.
Similar to the Bin Laden thing, you know, and just people didn't have the internet back then, and people didn't have ways of getting information. You just kind of heard something and went, well,
No.
maybe.
Okay.
Sounds legit.
Maybe that's true. I'll never know because I'll be dead by 1970.
Yeah.
Because I'm reading a newspaper in 1940 or 1946,
Wah, wah.
whatever. But
45.
so they post a fake, or they put out a fake photo that ended up getting debunked later too, right? They
claim to have only taken one picture, and then that wasn't
same
even
shit with
yeah.
Bin Laden, right?
Yeah.
They take his body. First Russia says we didn't find him. Later they come out and they say, and the United States and Russia just decide based on interviewing some of the German soldiers that Hitler had killed himself. All their stories were inconsistent. The one guy was named Misch, M-I-S-C-H, I think. This was like one of Hitler's right-hand guys. And he was the one that what we would recognize today as all the classic earmarks of a false flag hoax kind of deal. He was the one just giving these bullshit, inconsistent statements to the media and stuff. we heard the shot. Well, we didn't hear the shot, but somebody told us they heard it, or we smelled gun smoke, or we found the body, or no, we never found the body. The Russians took it. You know, it was just all this shit back and forth from him and a few other supposed eyewitnesses.
But so all the people that were there was like a bunch of people in the bunker, like 10 other people or whatever. And so some of them died, some of them killed themselves. But then the remaining ones, they were interrogated and they all like stuck with the suicide story forever. So like that's supposed to be compelling evidence, is that they all kept saying like it was suicide. So
yeah, and so for whatever reason, the Russians and the U.S., they said, okay, well, he killed himself. We got it from all the eyewitnesses and stuff. And even at this time, the Russians publicly were claiming we never recovered a body. We don't know, blah, blah, blah. Stalin was outright saying just Hitler escaped.
Yeah.
He was fucking pissed. He thought the Americans made a deal for some technology and all kinds of shit and scientists, which we know about Project Paperclip.
Right.
We know there was a lot of that going on. I don't think it's a fucking a huge leap to say they could have maybe provided him, hey, we'll get you out of here, we'll get you safe, we'll bring your close associates and your family and whoever, and here's what we need from you. We need all of this reverse engineered UFO shit that the History Channel wants us to fucking believe in.
Yeah.
And we need all of that stuff.
The History Channel's really breathing down our backs, guys.
Mr. Hitler.
they're like, listen, we need to be 90% World War II programming by 2008.
Yeah, but Stalin really thought that though, right?
That Germany was making UFOs?
No.
Oh.
That Hitler escaped.
Yeah,
Like,
there were newspapers, like the month after he had allegedly died, newspapers were all running headlines like, where is Hitler? Where did Hitler go?
Yeah, it was
Where's
immediately
Hitler?
questioned.
Yeah.
Nobody ever believed it. And somehow
And
it's just been perpetuated.
And to this day, there's no evidence that he died there.
Yeah.
Where they say, I forget the name of the fucking
Actually,
compound.
there's even less evidence than before.
All right, so all of the physical evidence has been debunked.
What about
and also
what about Eva Brown?
Eva Braun.
I think it's
Braun.
Brown.
No, it's Braun.
I think they say Braun.
In the documentary I
Did
watched,
they
they
say
said
Brown?
Brown.
Well, you watched some shitty documentary then.
Well, Braun.
Okay, well, what about her?
They never found any
Jesus.
evidence of her either, right? Except, do we think that she also escaped, or did she die somewhere else?
No, they escaped together.
Oh, okay.
No, that's the theory, is that they escaped together.
Oh, okay. Because he's shown allegedly in later photos with a new South American girlfriend.
Well, maybe things
if
didn't
you're-
work out.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
Yeah, all right.
You're Hitler. It doesn't mean you don't get sick of your old cousin wife that you've had for.
Cousin wife.
What, weren't they cousins?
Oh, God.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm going to find out, though.
No, you guys don't know shit about shit. You don't know shit about Dick.
I didn't know they
Hitler,
were cousins.
didn't Hitler marry his cousin? Isn't that?
I don't know.
Oh, you guys are very, very disappointing in this knowing about Hitler marrying his cousin department. They said that Hitler and Eva Braun were carried out. This is what the German soldier said, that they were carried out to the garden and cremated and then buried in the garden.
Okay.
And so
what ended up becoming the mainstream story is that then the Russians found that out years later and dug him up, right?
yeah,
Because
but
he was buried in like a German work camp or some shit, and then the Russians or they said they knew where he was or whatever it was, and then they came back and got him and brought the bone fragments to Moscow, and that was supposed to be Hitler all the way up until like 2005 or whenever they did those tests.
yeah, but so allegedly, the reason that Hitler wanted his body to be destroyed is because Mussolini had been killed like 2 days prior, and his mistress, and so they were
And when they killed
strung up
Mussolini,
in the town square, and
right?
shit, yeah.
No, they put him. They strung him up on like a gas station wall. It was like not even anywhere cool. It was just like they like strung him up on like some corner
Here
gas
you
station.
go, you piece of shit.
Yeah, and everybody was just fucking like throwing rocks at him and stuff. And,
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, one time Vinny and I were playing a game where you had to combine the name of a dictator with the name of a food, and I came up with chocolate Mussolini.
All right.
I would stone him.
So Hitler also had a lookalike double, and they're thinking that might have been how they produced that photograph, was they killed the
double.
lookalike.
Yeah.
Which I guess there was. See, there was a lot of shit that they don't tell you.
Yeah.
There was a what was it called? something Valkyrie, Operation Valkyrie or something like that. It was an attempted coup. You know, and there was an assassination attempt on him.
Yeah.
And so then he started using this double to go to a lot of stuff for him and everything. So there's a lot to this idea that it would have been pretty easy for him to escape. There's another team of investigators in recent years who confirmed that there was a tunnel out of that room that he was supposed to kill himself in that actually led to like a drainage thing on the street, and he could have just popped out right on the street wearing a disguise somehow or whatever, you know.
Shave off that mustache,
dude. What would Hitler have to do to fucking all he would
shave.
have to do shave. That's it, and maybe, you know, try just throwing on a regular t-shirt and jeans.
Right. Well, we talked before about
how goofy would Hitler look in just like a like just dressed like James Dean. How silly would Hitler be in just American greaser clothes?
I read
I'd
a
love
short
to see
story.
Hitler with his hair done like Pony Boy.
Yeah. Cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve. I read a short story where he escaped through a tunnel and lived out the rest of his life as a woman.
Well, that's an option too.
Yeah, he could have easily.
Yeah, I think there were those Hitler's gay rumors too, weren't there?
Those
yeah.
rumors about everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's
famous
gay.
Ever.
Yeah, everyone's gay a little bit at least.
Well, no, and especially then, because like how prevalent was his image, right? I mean, like I know there's newspapers and stuff, but people weren't like reading about him online. So it seems like you were talking about you started wearing a hat and then people didn't recognize you anymore.
I didn't wear a baseball. Yeah, I didn't wear a baseball cap for like 15 years, and then I just put one on and I would go places and no one would know who I was. Well, that's all it takes.
Do you think it's coincidental that he had such a signature mustache and such a defining mark on his face that was like unlike other mustaches?
Right.
And then you could remove that. You know, when I imagine Hitler's
That's
face,
also
I imagine
probably-
his mustache more than his face, you know?
It was also part of like public image branding and shit too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
but that would make it easy for him to transform his look quickly.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
you could
Oh,
just-
yeah.
I
No.
looked at a picture of him today and I was like, holy shit, his eyeballs are so bulgy. And I never noticed it before because all I ever think about is his mustache.
that's all you need to see.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Like
That's
when
his
somebody
symbol.
when somebody plays Hitler in a comedy sketch or something, they don't have to look anything like him.
No, they
as
just
long
need a
as
mustache.
as long as that mustache and the uniform.
Some brown clothes and a mustache.
Right, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Like you could even play Hitler just with like in like pajamas.
Yeah.
With that
Yeah,
mustache.
no,
and
that's
like
a
some
sketch.
and
I
like
Some
picturing
pomade
it.
in your hair. Yeah.
It was Mr. Show.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen that.
Hitler in pajamas.
The brilliant Mr. Show Hitler sketch. Yeah, fucking one of the funniest things ever. But yeah, I mean, you recognize Hitler even just out of his normal clothes and shit. Exactly. It would be very easy for him to just switch that up, and nobody would even fucking consider it could be him.
Yeah.
Stalin believed he escaped. A lot of people in the U.S., a lot of people in Germany, especially to this day. If you talk to a German person, many of them today will express to you that they hate Argentina. And I think some of this is like, did you ever know any people from Germany? I've known a couple.
No, not. I mean, I would say no.
Yeah, I've known a couple, and one thing I noticed that they seemed, and a few more exchange students in high school and stuff, and it seemed like there was always this sort of outward, maybe presentation of like guilt and like wanting to disassociate and make sure it's known that we hate the Nazis. You know, it's like one of those things that it's like, dude, like, well, yeah, way to take a strong stance. You hate the Nazis, like, but they really kind of like push that and want to talk about it. And like the woman, I used to work next to a hair salon, and German woman, and they were playing soccer or somebody on TV, you know, and one team was Brazil or something, and the other was Argentina, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so glad they lost. You know, I fucking hate Argentina." Just like venomous rage. I just hate those scum suckers, you know, and just like, I'm like, what? Why do you hate Argentina? Because they took in the Nazis and you know and gave a lot of the high ranking SS officers nice lives over there and stuff. You know, they made a deal with the Americans, and I'm like, so why do you not hate
the Americans.
Or the Germans.
Yeah.
Because that was your government of its time. And
Yeah.
so you can't still hate Argentina because of their government at the time making a deal with the Nazis. You know what I mean? Like, but so people in Germany, it's like a commonly known thing.
Yeah.
Argentina took in the Nazis. And that's actually not a secret. We just don't know about it in America because everyone here is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
We don't pay any attention. But you can go find out. It's not some weird conspiracy theory. Definitely Argentina took in a shitload of Nazis. Just they don't say that they took in Hitler, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty well known.
And the Nazis and the German guys over there will all say they're Swiss. That's their that's their cover. Yeah, it is.
Well, but Hitler, I mean, it's also known that Hitler just like planted a million not a million, but a lot of kind of elite Germans there to have something in place if shit went down. I mean, he had a really good relationship with one of the elite German families in Argentina. Actually, Hitler gave Argentina the first Mercedes-Benz ever in the country to this German family, who is then supposedly the family that set him up.
So he had the whole thing planned out.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was watching his own back, I think, for a long time. He knew what he was doing.
He knew he was up to something.
Yeah.
Well, and he had a backup plan.
Yeah, exactly. And if he had won the war and took over the world, it wouldn't matter. And if he lost, he still had this place.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of people who have done everything from making documentaries to writing books and doing radio shows and whatever else, supporting this idea that in the area where Hitler lived, it's well known to locals that he lived there.
Yeah.
That was just part of that was just part of when you grow up. When you grow up next to Hitler, you don't think it's weird, Yeah. You just, especially when you're in some far off rural place in Argentina, and you think about the way things are now, it seems unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
But didn't used to be so. You could conceivably live quietly somewhere where you're only exposed to 6 or 10 people who never leave that town and couldn't be bothered to fucking get in your business if they could, Yeah. It's just things have changed to the point that you can't imagine that, but I can imagine at one time Hitler disappearing into a nice little hilly valley somewhere.
Absolutely.
Some good wine.
And he traveled by submarine. Right?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, but other people say that this one chick flew him out. There was one
Amelia
chick.
Earhart?
Yeah. No, Hannah Reich, I think.
That's what happened.
Yeah, something like Hannah Reich. She was supposed. A lot of people think she got some during the last days of the war. She got some special permission from either Americans or Soviets to fly a personal plane out of the country. And that was a real suspicious thing. But she's been interviewed and questioned extensively over the years, and she never broke on it. She claims that she didn't have Hitler, but a lot of people thought that was the most plausible way for him to have gotten out of the country.
Yeah.
Was this chick who was, for whatever reason, given some special permission to fly out, and that's what persists as the conspiracy angle to it is
or maybe that was the distraction.
Yeah.
And then he really did go by submarine.
Hey, everybody, look at that plane.
Now the FBI, their
down Periscope
anonymous informant that they had moved up from Argentina claims to be one of the 4 people on the Argentinian end who was there when the submarine got there with Hitler and allegedly 50 other people. That's what he said, and that's what he told the FBI. And then he he offered to set them up.
Oh, the FBI was all over this. There's declassified FBI documents that basically tracked Hitler to Argentina, right? And they were basically saying he's here.
It was all based on this one guy's testimony in exchange for political sanctuary, so that he didn't have to go back to Argentina and go back to the Nazis. But he was like, "Hey, man, I'll tell you everything I know. I'll set you up with people down there who will take you out to where he is." But he was like, if you go there, I mean, it's really, there's an incredible amount of security. If you go there, you'll probably die. But I can tell you exactly where he is right now if you promise you'll protect me. And then officially, the FBI document states that they stopped searking for him.
That was around the time when
we found him, so
we'll
stop now.
Yeah.
Because the FBI was originally put together to kind of respond to Italian organized crime and stuff, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Whatever. And I don't remember exactly the story, but around the late 40s to early 50s is when their history starts to turn towards secrecy and colluding with fucking higher agencies to distort investigations and shit. You know,
It's murkier.
This is when they go, hey, you know what? What was it? 40? Yeah, late 40s, early 50s, whatever. This is when they go, you know what? We are not participating in any more investigations of UFOs. We determined they're not a threat. You know, you start to see things like that, and the FBI starts to become less and less foreign by the people. You know, so
yeah,
that's consistent with that period for sure.
Well, this guy gave us all this information, and we are officially not pursuing it.
Fuck, maybe they never investigated UFOs, but either way, in the late 40s or early 50s is when they started to make that turn to just be, you know, a little creepier.
Yeah, definitely. So, did Hitler have something to do with that? Who will ever know?
Him and J. Edgar Hoover fucking trying on pantyhose together.
Dressing up like ladies.
Scissoring.
So, and also
J. Edgar Hoover and Hitler scissoring down in Panama.
The whole way in the submarine.
Assume
he was there.
And then allegedly, I guess Hitler lived a long time, right?
Yeah, well, so I mean,
That's what they say.
He's probably dead by now, right? Because he'd be like,
he'd be pretty old.
He'd be pretty old.
Because he fought in World War I, so
yeah,
he had to be 18 or 20 at least in the teens, you know, in 1914, 15, whatever, 16.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
he is so dead.
He'd be way old.
Or he's like the oldest man
like
in the entire world.
He was born in 1889.
What the fuck, really?
1889?
Yeah, that's what the internet says. 4 days after Charlie Chaplin was born, and then they both had the same mustache.
Right. Well,
that's no coincidence either.
What's his name? What's his name would say that they were the same person?
Dallas Goldbug.
Dallas Goldbug, yeah.
So we should talk about that on the show one day because those are gold.
What?
The Dallas Goldbug videos. But anyways, Ava Braun is much younger.
I have a bug in my shirt, and now I can't let it go.
Okay.
I'm pinching it through the fabric. Ew. Fuck, I don't know what kind it is either.
So Ava Braun was born in 1912, so there were reports of her in.
Oh, dude, it was one. Oh my god.
What is it? What is it?
Ew, it's a beetle.
I don't see anything.
No.
Oh no.
I think it went in my pants now.
Okay, here we go.
Hold on. No,
right.
it's one of those beetles that flips over and shit and makes a clicking sound.
Oh no.
Oh, you guys carry on.
All right.
Oh, big of a beetle. That's making me uncomfortable. One time, my mom washed my Keds because that was a thing you could do when Keds were popular, and she was like, Tracey, put your shoes on, it's time to go. And I was like, there's something in it. And she's like, just put on your goddamn shoes. And there was a huge cricket in it, and then I put my foot in it, and then it was all foot cricket. Got that taken care of?
Did you find it?
No, I didn't find it, but
all right.
We're gonna have to just go on.
Okay. So what were you saying?
Anyway, so Ava Braun was born in 1912.
I got scared like a girl and threw it, but it caught. It caught on the fabric as I threw it, and just went down into the waist of my pants.
Probably one of its horns caught onto your fabric.
Yeah,
it's probably
one
hiding.
Of its mandibles.
Probably hiding in my pubic hair somewhere.
It's gonna go in your butthole.
Laying in wait
and lay eggs. Anyways, so Ava Braun, born in 1912, so she theoretically could have been alive, 10 years ago, and I forget, but sometime in the 2000s, people say that was when she actually died. So, could have been 95 or whatever.
Did they break up? How do you break up after something like that?
Yeah, that would have been a rough one. But, if he
Because Hitler had a black girlfriend.
Did he?
I put a link to a picture on the page for everybody. Yeah.
I never heard about that.
He was supposedly photographed in Brazil at the age of 95 with his black girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Hitler when he was a younger man or something.
Oh, no. Later on, after Ava Braun, he dated a black girl.
So, you never hear about that. Were there black people very much in Germany at that time?
Were there black people in the 40s?
I don't know. I'll bet they were put into a concentration camp.
Were they getting locked up? Yeah, because, there were, right? There had to be.
Did?
I don't know. I don't know what black people do in Europe. What you know?
That's a good question.
What's going on with that?
Well, I think sometimes they're British.
Yeah, sometimes they're British. I've seen French black people. I know
Yeah,
that.
Oh, yeah. Because like some
I've
island off of France.
I don't think I've ever
is,
seen a German black guy before.
I'm trying to imagine one, and I'm having a little bit of trouble.
It seems goofy. I don't think that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, black people were interned.
What does that? What does? Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to be, right?
They
Yeah.
They were just put in for work, though. They weren't exterminated. They were just put in camps.
Ah, yes.
Got to bring
held
back
separate.
slavery was probably phase 2 of the plan.
Yeah, they were experimented on and used for free labor, but they weren't killed outright like the Jews allegedly were.
Just like here.
Just like here.
The old Germans and Uncle Sam had the same idea for the African.
Well, and here's the wait.
Let's do some experiments and farm some crops here. We got some Africans.
How about some cotton?
So that is kind of funny though. I can't picture like a black guy speaking German. That just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it does.
Got to be white and like stand with weirdly good posture, you know, and it's like
and have like medium brown hair, and your eyes are just a little too far apart.
like awkward forehead situation that Germans have.
Yeah,
yeah.
I met one black-haired German named Constantine who looked like an American, but his name was Constantine, so nobody could take him seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, they've all looked exactly as you just described.
Did you guys call him Const?
Const, yeah. We called him Teen.
Teen.
Yeah, Teeny. Old Constantine.
So I think an interesting point is that, you know, obviously there's people who are trying to shoot down the Argentinian Hitler theory, and their main argument, as far as I could tell, seems to be there were too many people in the bunker. How could they have all kept a secret? But I feel like that's the go-to argument against anything that's not the mainstream story, right? Like, how could all these people work together?
Right. How could anyone ever keep a secret? You know that like everything gets leaked eventually. It's not possible.
Well, and like
you can't trust people. You can't have your own community where people look out for each other. It doesn't work.
And those people, I usually say to them this word: compartmentalization. Okay, that's just something that escapes most people, is that everyone doesn't have to be in on it to be playing a part in it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Fucking idiots.
People have a real hard time understanding that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They certainly do. That's one of those basic disconnects that a lot of people can't get past. They go, no, come on, you know. Well, hey, what, you know, why does it have to be that for the moon landing to have been faked, that thousands of scientists would be no, there'd be fucking 30 people in on it. One would be a director, a bunch of them would be actors, you know what I mean, and then everyone else would be doing their calculations and their science and getting lied to just like everyone else, you know what I mean?
And I mean,
meanwhile the billions of dollars disappear into, you know, whatever, like, black ops.
Haven't you ever had a job where you had to do something that seemed like a little weird, but like, whatever, I'll just do it? Like, for example, I had a job in law school where one of my tasks was to type up some fake minutes for a corporation for like the last 10 years.
What?
Like, okay.
That's like when you get that's.
Wait,
hold on a second.
Sounds more crazy.
Have you never said that out loud before? Because that's one of those things that you just say out loud for the first time, and you're like, "Wait a second."
No,
that's like as bad as you get a job and the owner comes like running in all sweaty and makes you 51% shareholder. You know, like right away, like, listen, this is gonna be really good for you. I gotta go.
No. So in like, to be a corporation in Illinois, you're supposed to keep like your records, obviously, and you have to have minutes from an annual meeting every year, but you don't actually have to have the meeting, but you have to have something typed up that says like who the shareholders are and like the year and like blah blah blah, but whatever. So like there was this one that it hadn't been done for a long time, so and part of the instructions were like, maybe print one on this computer, but then use that one over there and maybe like change the font for a different year, and like here's some other paper to use for some of them, you know, to make it look legit.
So you were forging.
Yes. Should I not be talking about this?
No, you should. This is interesting.
this is
So
great.
you had a job just out of law school doing what?
During law school, I worked for an attorney, and I was like her law clerk, and I did I would file stuff for her, and I would type up stuff for her. She would I did like real estate closing paperwork, and so she did real estate and then like divorce stuff, and then also like some corporate stuff, which is where I made the fraudulent minutes.
So you just produced like 10 years of fake meetings?
Yeah, but I was totally into it because it seemed like a craft project a little. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't want them to all look the same. So like this one, I'll do this. Oh, and then here's like this letterhead with like the old address. Like that'll be good for 2002.
Yeah.
And like,
What are you from some fucking farm in Nebraska? You just show up and just like, and you just get to the big city and people start using you to commit crimes.
I
Like,
guess,
Hey,
yeah.
I have been instructed by the owner of a business where I was employed to fraudulently charge people's credit cards.
All right, so
when
the
they
point
hadn't
is,
agreed to it. I mean,
the point is, you didn't know the overall.
Right, I just did that, and it
Conspiracy,
seemed like
but-
a little weird, but like whatever, I don't fucking care.
Right.
Like,
And so, yeah, so that's how that shit works.
Yeah.
Basically. Gotcha.
so, and then it could just be some total run of the mill thing, like, oh, hey, once a month you need to send out this report, and then, it's whatever. So that would be very easy
Yeah.
to get people.
so the
to
point
do-
being that most of the people who stuck to the story that Hitler killed himself probably actually believed that Hitler killed himself.
right?
Okay. Yeah, why not?
I mean,
Do you-
why would they have to tell anybody, especially if they had a body double? How easy would it be to make the switch real quick?
Right. You could have one or two people.
Yeah, I
the
forget there
switch.
was some problem with I think they did kill the body double, and they tried to pass it off as a body, but there's some problem because he was 2 inches shorter, and
Wait,
had
this
something
sounds
else
familiar
going
to
on.
me, too.
Yeah.
Well, and also I'd be inclined to believe that he had more than one body double. He was a powerful guy. Saddam Hussein had, a dozen
Yeah.
lookalikes just to distract people and be
Well,
decoys and
And
Right.
again, with the mustache, how similar do you actually have to look to him?
yeah.
So,
Saddam
wait.
was another one that just had that, like, you didn't even
like
have
generic
to
look.
Yeah, you could just play him with a couple props, and it would
Yeah.
it would just
Again,
look like
a
him, yeah.
mustache.
Right.
Yeah. He had the full beard and the tall hair. And anybody could play Saddam.
Yeah, so it's been alleged that Hitler had as many as 6 doubles. So,
Oh, there
and
you have
then Gustav Weller was one of them, and he was knowingly executed by guards as part of a disinformation strategy. And this was before Hitler actually died, and his corpse was found by Allied forces who initially believed it to be Hitler. However, the British surgeon and historical writer W. Hugh Thomas, blah blah blah, whatever. So that happened during the war, right before Hitler actually died. Is that they pretended he was dead by killing the body double to try and trick.
By killing one of the 6 body
Yeah.
doubles.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Hitler was in on that one. Obviously,
I think
right?
so.
Yeah,
yeah.
he had to have been.
So
All right, so now you're saying he got away with it because he sold technology in exchange for his...
Well, that's the most plausible theory I've heard, is that what would have probably been going on is the Soviets and Americans both probably wanted to get their hands on the science and technology that Germany had. And it was probably easier for one of them to try to strike a deal rather than to physically capture everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, to me, that's the most plausible thing I've heard as like a real life scenario of how and why somebody would get Hitler out of the country safely,
Yeah.
because obviously he would need help. Now, the same international conspiratorial community that helped him rise to power seems to have turned on him by the end of the war. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's another thing that would say it's got to be some direct deal that was made. You know what I mean? He's not going to have the same resources, that Thule Society shit and everything.
Yeah.
I don't think those people were backing him anymore. I think that it would have had to have been like another savvy, intelligence operation who planned this for years and said, look, when we get him in the right fucking scenario, let's get everything they've been working on.
We'll swoop in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get everything they've been working on. And maybe then he got killed. Maybe they got him out of the country to Argentina and poisoned his fucking pea soup.
Yeah.
Threw him off
And then
a
that
cliff.
was it.
I don't know.
They got what they needed and dumped him.
Yeah, who knows? But I do think it was some kind of deal made with the Americans.
And you do think that he didn't die in the bunker?
I've got no reason to think that he did.
Yeah.
Let's say that. I don't see any more evidence of that than that he fucking flew away on a dragon. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true.
And I do see evidence that he went to Argentina.
Well, and the official story is that Hitler and Ava went into the private quarters, closed the door. No one else is in there.
No one witnessed it,
They
yeah.
heard a loud noise, and then 10 minutes later, some dude went in, and they were there dead. So
Right.
I mean, anything could have happened.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the Soviets and the U.S.
Yeah.
The biggest liar, crazy countries that have ever existed, barring maybe the U.K. And they were sniffing
Yeah.
around too.
North
Yeah.
Korea.
North Korea, whatever. Who cares?
They don't count.
But you know what I'm
They're
talking
not in the
about?
scheme of things.
There's no reason to trust either of our governments, especially the Soviets of that era.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. It's all
I trust the
a
current
little
Russians.
fishy.
I trust Putin.
Yeah,
Before-
why?
Well, just before I would fucking trust any of that shit that was happening back then that they were telling people.
Trust
you know?
Putin because he hasn't directly created a genocide.
No, I'm just saying. I would have an easier. I mean, it hasn't been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that he's lying about every single thing he ever says.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's what it takes.
So it's just there's no reason to trust the information that formulated the mainstream story on Hitler's death.
So why? I mean, so it's well established that there was a crazy good group of scientists in Germany, right? But why? How did that happen, and why? Are Germans just really good at science? How are they so far ahead?
Well,
Hitler created-
I don't think that it's even necessarily that people in German scientists were any better. I think that any powerful country who's been working in secrecy on any science, other powerful countries would be extremely interested in getting their hands on it. You know
Well,
what I mean?
and I think the other part too is that Hitler took power and pulled his country out of a depression immediately while the rest of the world suffered, and they had money to work with, whereas other countries were struggling just to get along and probably weren't spending money the way he was on developing especially military technology.
Was there also any element of people basically being forced to work for to keep them out of concentration camps and shit like that? Because Joe who was here the other day, he made the point, hey, were there any billionaires in the concentration camps? Well, I'm sure there weren't.
No.
Similarly, were there any people with useful talents in concentration camps to the fucking Nazi? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm sure they had a lot of Jewish scientists and stuff working for them, and just what I mean, just forcing people to work at their full capacity.
Yeah.
Through threat of violence. Was that going on?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of different jobs at concentration camps. You get sorted and sent out to different places. So they had scientists working basically as slaves.
In the concentration camps?
Yeah, well, they had certain areas of certain concentration camps set up to do that. They had, people were building microchips for bombs. People were...
Yeah. No, they were doing some crazy developments, and a lot of it had to do with propulsion, I think.
And they had, 1 million free slaves to do the grunt work, and if they fucking electrocuted themselves and died, it was no loss to them. They just threw another one in the chair.
Right.
They had an incredible opportunity before and during the war to really hurl themselves ahead of the world in terms of technology production, I think.
So I don't think there was anything necessarily better about German scientists. I think it was just fucking
circumstance.
Yeah, it was just, and that they were developing things in secret, which makes other powerful countries nervous, and they really want to know what the hell is going on. You know what I mean?
You've got to tell us what you have, dude.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
So that's what I think is the most plausible thing.
I have to say it makes sense.
Deals were made.
Yeah.
I think.
World War II is weird. Hitler is complex. People don't realize. I never realized. I always knew, certain little, he was vegetarian and that stuff. But he was actually did good things overall, along with very bad things overall, allegedly, too. But
well, that's what I started off by saying, is most people won't accept any nuance in this conversation, and there's a lot to be learned.
Yeah, absolutely. And
There's a lot that's relevant to today.
And it is suspicious that he has been the scapegoat for 60 years now. You know, would you go back in time and kill Hitler? Or, he's always the guy to beat in terms of being evil. And I don't think that's a coincidence either.
And he's also allegedly one of the comings of the Antichrist.
Yeah?
Everybody's the Antichrist.
So Napoleon, Hitler, and then
Obama.
Who's the third? Is it Obama?
The third one is a projection in the sky. Project
Allegedly.
Bluebeam. Do you want to talk about that? Antichrist.
Yeah, well, see, here's what you do. You don't go and stop everything and go, so, do you want to talk? You just start a conversation. And if somebody didn't get enough of Hitler, they'll let you know.
All right, well, you didn't respond at all.
I could never get enough Hitler.
No, me neither, but I just feel like it's been
Holy
an hour
fuck.
of Hitler. But Project Bluebeam aims to project a new messiah into the sky and convince everybody that all of their religions have been wrong.
So I've seen some stuff, like some test things on that. Right, Vinny, when we watch a video about that, like
Project Bluebeam.
or just like, oh, hey, there's an angel in the sky.
For people who haven't been listening to the last couple shows, Project Bluebeam is basically the idea is that they can project images holographically into the sky, and it was discussed. Is a holograph the right word? Or?
Yeah, well, it's a projection. Wait, it's a three-step process, actually. The first step is to create earthquakes in certain parts of the world.
And this is a United States thing.
Yeah,
Development.
it's New World Order. It's the idea is that with different types of religion all throughout the world, the people will never accept a New World Order because they have their own saviors and their own people who are going to look out for them. So the first step is to dismantle people's idea of their religion, which is by creating earthquakes around the world where they mysteriously find like an ancient, quote unquote, ancient artifact that debunks every major religion. That's the first step.
Wait, so they fake those or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they create, but I can't, can you think of a single thing that would make every Christian say, oh, holy shit, we were wrong?
Yeah, I could think of something. They could dig up Jesus's corpse and find a bunch of puncture holes in his. Fuck. I was trying to think what would a skeleton have that would prove it was fucked in the ass a lot of times. That's what I'm getting at. Never mind. Let's cut our
All right.
losses with that. Prove Jesus was gay. There you go.
There you go. That'll do it.
How about I don't know, some sort of physical evidence about like the story of Jesus being false, I guess is all I could think of.
Yeah, the problem with that is that it doesn't, like, religion doesn't work
Part
that
of a
way.
skeleton is the butt. There's no butt on a skeleton.
It's a pelvic bone.
Tailbone.
Yeah.
area.
Tailbone. That's just the bottom of your spine.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, and it just came up. I just came up with nothing.
No.
Skeletons have no asses. That was my problem. It was
Yeah.
flawed from the start. But go ahead.
Could
Okay.
have gone with like a blowjob.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just couldn't get it together. I don't know enough about religion. Not nearly as much as I know about gay sex.
So after they unearth ancient proof with these fake earthquakes that they're going to cause, which we know that it's already possible to cause earthquakes in certain areas by fracking because it happens all the time. So they're going to make these fake earthquakes, and then once the seed of doubt has been planted, they will then use projectors from satellites projecting onto the sodium layer 60 miles above the Earth.
Okay.
And they will project it'll be all different religious leaders, and it'll broadcast a message in every language
Yeah.
about how their religions have been wrong and that there's a new messiah in town and that they need to turn to him instead. And then it's going to create they're going to use telepathic and electronically augmented communication to literally broadcast waves inside people's heads and make them think that God is speaking to them from within themselves. They call it, diffuse artificial thought, where they incept you and use your own thoughts against you, and then they're
Yeah,
going to create
that,
a physical rapture.
That technology's been around for years now.
Yeah.
To point some sort of weird, like, dude, what freaks me out more than anything with developments in weaponry is sonic weaponry. It's fucking crazy what they can do. Years ago, it must be 8 years ago, I was watching videos of new technology coming out that they could aim this, like, it looked like a like if you took a folder and curved it, kind of just like, it was just like a flat surface that was like curved, and it held up on a handle, you know. So like you're holding like a, you know, regular old fucking handle with this kind of, you know, curvy flat surface and a little like satellite thing coming out of the middle of it, little phallic dealy, you know.
Okay.
And they would point that at a person, and you couldn't hear. It would project sound only in concentrated waves at one person. So they could take in a public place and make a guy just hear they were doing stuff just with, you know, experiments and stuff, and just going, let's point at this guy. And these people knew what was going on, but they were participating and whatever. But let's just point at this guy and, for instance, make him just tell him something weird about himself and make him feel weird. You know what I mean? Like tell him, project some thoughts that tell him God's speaking to him or whatever. You know, they were doing this 8 years ago.
Yeah.
In small.
At a small scale.
Yeah. Right. So this stuff has been in development for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably fucking way more advanced now.
It is. And they're also talking about using like tractor beam style technology to beam people up and create like a rapture situation for people. And then that apparently is how
That'd
they're
be cool.
Yeah.
They just beam you up into the fucking clouds and just drop you in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's like drop you in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, out of sight.
Where am I going?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So this whole thing sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that governments like to do when we don't pay enough attention.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
What they've been working on.
Yeah.
So I looked up the sodium layer in the atmosphere, and it is actually so easy to project on that astronomers regularly project things on them to look at through their telescopes.
The sodium layer, huh?
Yeah, it's a sodium gas that's collected in our atmosphere just due to the Earth's gravity or whatever.
So astronomers will like what? They'll project.
They have like special sodium lasers that manipulate the sodium.
Oh, fuck, I knew about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we have a relative that developed laser systems for the military.
We do.
In the Vietnam era. Mm-hmm. And he then went and worked at some type of observatory or
yeah, he also worked it for an aviation company too.
Right, but he's told me about projecting that's sometimes the only way they can see a laser beam is by projecting it out onto that sodium field or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It takes a special kind of laser, though.
Right.
And any old laser won't do it. You need a sodium laser to do it. But they have that, and that's a technology that's used regularly by astronomers to, like, check their telescopes.
Yeah, so we're not talking far out shit here.
None of this is.
There is a built-in projector screen on the world.
So, I mean, like, each of these, you know, overall, this sounds like a fucking crazy thing. Like, no way could you ever fucking do this. And then when you break it down, like, piece by piece, so far, everything we've talked about, we know is totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only weird thing would be developing the thought projection technology to project individually. You know, you couldn't use one to project it to everybody because everybody doesn't sound the same on the inside, and everybody would be expecting something different. It would have to be individualized. And then why do they rapture people, and who do they choose to rapture? See, that's where it starts to get murky for me, because then they leave, the more passive people behind to be the slaves of the New World Order?
Well, anything to do with the New World Order has to do with destabilizing the confidence of the average person in their own belief systems and governments, and they were going to want to stimulate a desire for an overarching world power to protect everyone against like a common threat or something.
Yeah, make them feel weak.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's anything to do with the New World Order. You know, there's a lot of people who will say they're stimulating like all kinds of fake UFOs, and they're putting movies out about UFO attacks and all this stuff, and they're just priming people for a fake hoax UFO invasion so that people go, holy fuck, we need to all get together right now. We need the UN to fucking take everything over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just every New World Order conspiracy ultimately leads to this idea that they're going to try to shake sovereignty out of us.
Yeah, just generally.
Through fear, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they own everybody. And then what, though?
Well, because that's the end game for all this stuff is to end up with one tiny group of elites feeding off a small workforce that produces resources and entertainment. So, I mean, it's basically that is the end goal, is to have fucking, 800,000 people left on the planet on work farms and in cubicles while,
Yeah.
couple thousand people yuck it up.
While some fatties
Because that's
sit
what we
on their
but that's what we
ass.
have now. But just picture further consolidation of what's going on now, and infighting within the elites, and eventually it gets whittled down, and the mass killings that are going on, soft kill techniques that are all over the place through food and poison and stuff. This stuff is gonna just keep going and going, and we're gonna and furthermore. The trend of everyone having to work harder and harder to even just get enough to survive. Eventually, it's going to be one giant corporate government, and we fucking work for credits at the company store. And that's going to be it.
And that's the end of it. That's all there is.
Yeah, and because the elites that are driven to this end are so psychopathic and insane, they will destroy themselves eventually too.
Yeah.
And the planet will be over.
And then the squids will take over.
Well, seriously, where do you think this is all leading?
Oh, yeah. No, the humans are going to destroy themselves. Absolutely. I haven't quite
Not
decided.
humans. Homo sapien tyrannicus.
My mistake.
They're a different breed.
Yeah. Part reptile.
They are.
I know.
I'm not kidding. Well, how do people in how do biologists define like a species, right? It's not always. So, there are like different offshoots, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes when, and it's all like motive based. So in biology, when an organism splits, what happens is that one group no longer shares the biological imperatives and no longer has a stock in the same things as the other group. And that is what we have now. There is a group that has split off and doesn't share the same societal incentives as us. In fact, they're opposite.
Right.
Our downfall is their
Gain.
triumph.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we are becoming two different species.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying there?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. And is that evolution? Is that...
Oh, dude, it's very complicated because you get into. I mean, if the bloodline theory is right, if these are families who have been ruling for many thousands of years and have kept bloodlines pure and stuff, then the question is like, is there something genetically different about some of these families from a long fucking time ago, and they're trying to preserve that, you know? And so it's kind of twofold, Yeah, it could be something that's being created, and it could just be something that we're realizing.
Yeah. Or also something that is making itself more potent by, their gene pool is thinning.
Right.
So they could be evolving as their own thing.
I can't talk enough about how, like, you look at the Bush family and you look at, like, the royal family. Mm-hmm. They're the same fucking people.
They look so similar.
They look the same. And that's that fucking weird fucking big-eared, shitty complexion, thinning fucking hair, weak gangly frame,
wide forehead,
and that exists all over in royalty. Mm-hmm. All over, just frail shitty genetics because it's been sapped by inbreeding.
But but is that what happens over generations and generations of inbreeding? Do you end up with those same characteristics?
Oh, definitely, 100%. And you also end up with inbreeding will cause like a lot of defects. So if you look into like royal families, they have had, there's a lot of miscarriages and there's a lot of fucking weird, the baby died, when it's then later surmised it perhaps was retarded or things like, you know what I mean?
So they drowned it.
The royal family
burlap sack.
Or way back when, but now it had complications due to jaundice and didn't make it or some shit. I don't know.
A lot of jaundice.
A lot of jaundice deaths these days. Yeah. Whatever a baby dies from, I don't know. But you see what I'm saying?
SIDS.
The royal family can't have a retarded baby.
Oh no, of course not.
No way. So that's that's some of the consequences of inbreeding. Are you looking that up?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Consequences of inbreeding that stick out like a sore thumb when you think about fucking royal families and rich families in the U.S. and stuff. One of it tends to breed people with genetic defects who are retarded or disabled in some way, or it breeds ultra like megalomaniacal or megalomaniacal control freaks. It breeds just off the charts insane control freaks,
crazy obsessive
and defective retarded people. That was basically a way of simplifying what inbreeding does. What did you just find there?
Oh, I was just backing you up. This is just a list of all sorts of royal families that have had crazy birth defects. Let's see. There was, all the way back in 1456, there was a young man born without a jaw to a royal family.
Oh, there you go.
Spain.
That's normal.
Yeah. Hemophilia, plagues.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. That's like...
Look at all those fucking weak motherfuckers, too. Like,
it's just genetic weakness. Evolution would have eliminated them if they didn't have money.
Yes.
Or
there you go.
reptilian blood or whatever it is that got them to where they are.
Yeah.
But it goes way, way back, all the way back to the 1400s here. Let's see. Egyptian inbreeding disorders. There were, Siamese twins were a common weird thing where the baby would be born as a Siamese twin, just die immediately in Egypt.
Fucking drown it in a river.
Yeah, so I'll post a link to this for everybody. This is a really long list and it's very thorough. But yeah, it's pretty much across the board. Royal families are deforming themselves because they are just doing it with each other.
Because they're inbred, and that's why they never tell anyone their last names.
Yeah,
because
they all go around changing them all the time.
Yeah, you'd figure it out pretty quick if they kept those names going.
Wouldn't take much.
He married his second who?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
It's not, in Illinois, it's not illegal to marry your cousin if you're over a certain age.
What? What age?
It's like
15?
50. No, it's like 50. 50. Because then you wouldn't be able to reproduce. So.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I learned that in law school.
I guess that is the main concern. See, that is why people aren't supposed to inbreed, is because it's just shitty for fucking evolution. It's just shitty for fucking genetics. And it's like, it's not really a religious based thing. It's just a fucking something we've known for thousands of years. It's like, yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's bad for everybody. Just a bad deal with the old inbreed.
Yeah, I have never considered for a moment that would be legal.
Yeah,
and yet here we are.
But it's funny that the only reason, it's only illegal if it's possible to reproduce. Other than that, we don't, as a society, really give a fuck,
Yeah. Is that, wait, did you say only cousins?
I believe it's I'm hazy on the exact specifics, but I believe it's first cousins. And I want to say there's like 2 or 3 criteria that have to be met. And one of them is that your age is over a certain amount.
Over childbearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. That's
Well, it's funny that it probably used to be a law that no cousins could get married, and then like somebody had to fucking really push that idea through. Like, well, come on, like we can't marry our cousins. Like, what the fuck? I was just in Indiana. We could marry our cousins. Like, nah, we don't do that in Illinois, sir. Well, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, all right. Listen, how about this? How about if we wait till we're too old to have kids? Like, no, you can't marry your cousin. I'm starting a petition. That's it. I can't. I have to marry my cousin.
Yeah.
Only 25 states prohibit marriages between first cousins, and 6 states allow first cousin marriage under certain circumstances, and Illinois is one of those.
Why do people need to marry their cousins?
I don't know, but
it's so
North
weird.
Carolina allows first cousin marriage.
Why? Of all the arguments that we have about laws and all this bullshit in society, why the fuck is one of them not whether or not you can marry cousins? Why have we been arguing about gay marriage for so long, And why are not religious people mad about fucking people marrying their cousins?
Or their fathers. Remember we talked about that girl who's
Oh,
marrying her own
yeah.
biological father in North Carolina.
North Carolina, okay.
She is a goer.
First cousin marriage is legal, but double cousin marriage is prohibited. I don't know what the
hell
fuck
does
double
that mean?
cousin marriage is.
When you marry
That
two
sounds-
of your cousins.
That sounds intense.
Okay, but so in
Hey,
Illinois,
hey, did you hear what happened to Ray? Nah, what happened to Ray? Man, Ray went fucking full double cousin marriage. It's insane. They are
they had to leave North Carolina.
they are so married.
Okay, so in Illinois, if you're both 50 or older, or one is unable to reproduce. So,
In Illinois?
Yeah, in Illinois. And Illinois has the youngest. So
I feel like there's a lot of people that would get together with their cousins if they knew that.
Yeah.
I feel like
Well,
there's like
you're
we should
welcome,
get, we should
America.
get the, yeah, we should get the
Yeah.
word out about that. There's a lot of people that are just too afraid to fucking approach their cousin about that shit because, you know,
like, listen,
how ba-
we're
dude,
30 now,
how
but
bad
in 20
hot.
years.
like
I'm hot.
it's bad enough like just trying to meet a girl when you're single or meet a guy, I guess if you're a girl, and or if you're a gay person, or if perhaps a female might meet a female. I mean, there's nothing wrong with anyone dating anyone. So it's hard enough to fucking meet a woman, and then imagine like trying to ask your cousin out, and then you
Tell your mom.
you know, yeah, if that goes wrong, holy shit.
I feel
You
like
got some fucking problems after that.
I feel like people who marry their cousins, I have a feeling their relationships move fast, and that they kind of go from 0 to married, kind of thing.
Well,
Right,
they already
yeah.
spend all holidays together, so it's just,
Yeah.
you just ease right into it.
And like, if you do it with your cousin, is there any going back from that? I mean, can you ever just have a normal relationship with that person, or is it just always going to be, I did it with my cousin?
No,
so
you
now I have to
destroyed
marry you?
your whole family
Yeah.
forever.
Unless you get married.
Yeah, so you don't have a choice. You got to go whole hog.
You just, I would imagine,
That's probably what they'd say out in North Carolina.
Right.
I would imagine that the silence afterwards would be awkward. That it would
Yeah.
So,
just-
did you send grandma a birthday card?
be. Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you talk about? You talk about your family. Ugh.
No,
You can't
couldn't
marry your cousin. This is preposterous.
No, this is.
I can't believe you can marry your cousin in Illinois.
Well, yeah, and Illinois has the youngest 50 is the, like, in Wisconsin it's 55, and then in a couple other states you have to both be 65, but here you only got to be 50. So,
Woo!
yep. And
Party.
so, okay, listen,
You
here's
can still
what
have kids when you're 50.
Dude, in
here's
Illinois,
what double
Illinois,
cousin marriage
Illinois is not. Well, we'll get to that, but
Okay.
Illinois is like 95% rural
Yeah,
too. You know what I mean?
that's true.
This applies to a lot of people. This is not. Chicago is just a little anomaly.
I know.
Up here in the corner. The rest of this state, yeah, I could see some cousin fucking. I would say that.
Yeah, you really only have to drive an hour and a half.
20 minutes. Fuck,
Well, I mean, to really get into some cousin fucker territory.
we're 15 minutes out of the city right now, and I'm about as big a redneck as you could ever want to meet. Well, it's not. You don't have to go far.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
I was just throwing a shovel around the yard earlier just for no reason.
are you guys ready to
Yeah.
get real confused?
Go ahead.
Because
Oh, I
I'm going to
can't
tell
wait.
you what double cousin marriage is.
All right.
Okay.
Double cousins are formed when two siblings from one family marry two siblings from another family, and both couples have children. So then those children would be double cousins.
We have that in our family.
We do?
Yes, our mother's mother and her sister married two men who were brothers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
so that
but
means
then-
you guys have
And they both had kids.
double cousins.
Yeah, but then those kids weren't allowed to marry
yeah,
each
those
other.
kids couldn't marry each other.
Well, double cousins can't get married, right?
Not in North Carolina.
Double cousins
Yeah, that's the
can.
point.
Oh,
No,
they
they
can't.
cannot.
They can't in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they can in other places, huh?
I don't know. That was just the call out that North Carolina allows first cousin marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
But not double cousin.
in our family, our grandmother and her sister married two men who were brothers. Mm-hmm. One of which, we never met our mom's dad. I think he just
No.
ran off.
They had some weird stuff.
I think he runned off. He RUNN'd off or whatever.
RUNNOFT.
Oh yeah, RNN. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Was that Oh brother, where art thou?
Yeah.
Or something? Yeah. Yeah, he run off.
Yeah, he ran off.
Right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I vaguely remember her telling me that he died, but she didn't care. I think he took them one time.
He like kidnapped them.
He
Our
like
family's
kidnapped
fucked up.
them.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Well,
That's another
because
vague one.
Our mom's mom was like 14 or something.
She was young. I think she was
had her.
16.
16 or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Her
Yeah, you
and
guys
then
have
her
a
sister.
a great grandma who still like prances around.
Yeah.
Yes.
She just had a 95th birthday party, I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at the party, they put a bit in her mouth, and everybody was riding her around like a bronco.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
She hit her head on the fireplace, and everybody got scared. She's like, "Nah, I'm fine."
Yeah. It's cool, guys. Like,
That's
that's
fine.
never happened before.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I'm 50-50 on whether or not that's a true story. I could see either way,
No,
knowing your people.
so yeah, we have double cousins in our family, but then they didn't get married.
They didn't get married, so
That's
that's,
a shame.
okay. Yeah.
That's a shame because they could have.
No, they
yeah.
couldn't.
We
Well,
don't
they
know
could.
that.
They could
couldn't
now.
in-
They're old enough now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Are double cousins never allowed to get married in North Carolina?
Yeah, I guess not.
That's
Is that like
bullshit.
really bad?
That's
Why would
fucking
that be so-
That's fucking bullshit.
Because you share too much genetic makeup.
Probably
then,
because
right?
they would be more closer to being siblings to each other. than
And they'd
cousins
only
to
be
each
drawing
other.
from 2 gene pools instead of 4.
Imagine if 2 sets of twins married each other. Their kids would have the same DNA.
I would just like to bring up again how much time we've wasted on gay marriage. Why is not there a giant religious debate about cousin marrying?
I think-
Why is that not a problem?
Didn't people?
Oh, wait a second. Maybe it's because the Bible was chock full of inbreeding.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Just
Wasn't that like
rife.
kind of a theme?
Yes.
Doing
Well,
it
now-
with little boys and
Okay,
your
so
cousins. and-
theoretically, you could not know
uncles.
your cousins at all, right? And you could just happen to meet one and fall in love. And then is that any weirder than marrying anyone else?
Okay, but then when you find out that that person is your cousin, do you get creeped out? I feel like I would get creeped out. I feel like the idea of our
I think if you never met him before, it wouldn't.
well, I guess the idea of our genetics not being compatible would probably get to me eventually. You know,
Once you knew
there would
that
always
it was your cousin.
there would always be this like looming like, well, our kids would be inbred. We could never. Our genetics reject each other. We shouldn't have a relationship. You know,
Well, maybe you just shouldn't have kids.
maybe you shouldn't have kids.
Done.
with
Maybe you and your
cousin.
cousin shouldn't have kids.
Man, them royals are more inbred than yeast.
Oh
No?
no, I don't think so. Yeah, that was pretty good. All right. Well,
So yeah, I think it's time to take a break.
You don't say that.
Well,
I say that.
yeah.
Thanks for being with us, Tracy. I assume you're leaving now.
I am.
Well,
Some of us have to go to work in the morning.
again, sorry that we broke up, and I wish that you would take me back.
Well, this is awkward.
I see the sun rising set across
Agents
the
of
gray
Change
sky. Fears in my
on the
future.
Overdose
I
Talk
guess it's
Show.
time
We'll
to
be back.
face mine. Sometimes all you need is a kick, snare, and bass line, and all your insecurities will melt like glaze.
If you want to contact the Overdose Talk Show, send us an email at theoverdosetalkshow@gmail.com. If you want to call in during the show, 630-599-RUBS, 630-599-RUBS. What else we got for the people? Our Instagram. Instagram's like the only good fucking social networking site anymore. And you know why? Because everyone on every other site is a fucking jack off.
Yeah. Every single person. Instagram people are nice.
Instagram, everybody's nice for some reason. I
Yeah.
like it on there.
Our Instagram is fun too. It's lots of pictures of Vinny doing weird things and videos of cats chasing each other in the yard and stuff. So
Yeah, we'll give you a little inside look at the show there.
Yeah,
if you
behind
wanna,
the
Yeah, if you want to
scenes.
follow us on Instagram. And we're still the Sunday Evening Overdose on Facebook, but that will change to the Overdose Talk Show.
Yeah.
So, come over and find us at the Sunday Evening Overdose. We're going to give that a few more days, I
Yeah.
think, and kind of get the announcement out there and get the name change in people's heads, and then we'll change the Facebook page.
there you have it.
Gotta turn this thing off.
All right. So our Instagram, I don't think we said our Instagram name, but it is Overdose Talk Show.
On
It's
Instagram.
Overdose talk show.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
I got
Come
into
find
it
us.
with this local promoter. For people that know the show or know me, you know that I'm also a musician and do my own, I'm not unsigned, fucking person who tours and puts out albums and all of that stuff under Robot Hilarious. So I've been doing this for a while. I've been in the local Chicago quote-unquote music community, which is, I guess, more of just a fucking circle jerk.
That's exactly the term I was going to use.
Assholes all sabotaging each other. But there you go. Been a part of that whole fucking stupid thing for a long time. And one thing I don't like is shitty, parasitic little gatekeeper promoters. And what I mean by gatekeepers is they have it worked out with certain venues that they book certain nights. Okay, so people think they need these people to book certain venues. Untrue. Doesn't matter. You can call any person, any artist who can draw, who can bring people in, can call a venue directly and do a little bit of legwork and keep all the fucking money.
Yeah.
You understand? So
How much does a promoter typically charge for that service?
these guys, okay, now we're talking about Mark Allen of Rock Chicago is the name of the company.
Okay.
Now, by the way, there is a rumor that he is some kind of creep pedophile, okay?
All right.
It's not true. I should
Okay.
say that. I don't like the guy, but he pled guilty to a charge a long time ago that had to do with like inappropriate touching of a minor, but I think it was more of an angry confrontation thing and or whatever. And he I don't know. It doesn't sound like it was sexual, you know what I mean? And
Right.
he wasn't charged with anything sexual or anything like that. So the headline though that was run, and like people, you know how people just go with the headline. Music promoter, let's see, let me pull this up. Music promoter pleads guilty to, this is on the dailyherald.com. Music promoter pleads guilty to touching teen. So you know what people think when they see that headline.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty damning.
So me and this guy get into it a little bit, basically because there was a giant thread on his Facebook page of people debating whether or not how they should book shows and what's appropriate and how they should sell tickets to their friends and blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, you guys are in a big fucking runaround for no reason. Your friends and your family are not your fucking fan base. Guys like this, I said this right on his page. I was like, guys like this, their whole gig is that they get you to sell $12 tickets for some 6:30 show, all ages shit somewhere, to all your family and friends, and they take 65% or whatever.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Oh, it's always, yeah, dude. First of all, promoters like this will always have a thing off the top. Well, I have to pay for promotion, which is nothing. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I have to pay a sound guy and blah blah blah. So we take the first $200 or whatever, and then after that, the bands split a certain percentage or whatever. You know what I mean?
Holy
so
shit.
it works out to where the promoter usually ends up with well over 50% of the money.
Yeah.
So.
And you leave with $70.
And they're not doing anything. They don't have relationships with media. They don't have relationships with radio. They don't have relationships with anyone that can put people in the room. They tell you to fucking go sell tickets to all your friends and family and blah, blah, blah. And it's a bringer show. It's what's known in the industry as a bringer show. It's where everybody brings everybody they know and they put together a crowd.
Yeah.
Can be fun. Whatever. Not the end of the world. However, this guy doesn't do anything. He sends a couple emails and makes a shitty flyer and posts it on Facebook and just rakes in a very marginal amount of money, but still it's a big runaround for everybody involved, thinking they're gonna get somewhere because it seems more legitimate when there's like a promotion company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like for young bands they're gonna go, man, this is what we need. We need a promotion company. Look, hey, we're playing at the House of Blues. Can you believe it? Well, guess what? Who's going to be at the House of Blues to watch your show? Everyone you bring there.
Yeah.
So you're going to play on an awesome fucking stage.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
That's cool, I guess,
Yeah.
But tomorrow, you're going to be nowhere further in your career than you were the day before because all you know what I mean.
Because everyone who's
So
there
this
was
guy-
there for you to begin
This guy
with.
operates in a very shitty way, and
Right.
all of these promoters do. I could name a bunch of them: Afton, MP shows. Fuck all of you faggots. I mean, it's criminal. They're selling people their own dreams. They know these people want to get somewhere with their music and their art, and they're selling people this idea of like, here, look, you do these shows, just keep doing this, and when I get an opportunity for you, I'll give you. There's no fucking opportunity. Just
pay your dues,
dude. It's I would call it a pyramid scheme, but it's just like a
but
fucking.
it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I would call it, I would call it a pyramid scheme, but it's honestly it's more of just like a two-sided incomplete triangle scheme. It's just fucking just one idiot throws money onto another idiot.
Yeah.
And so anyways, it's one of these things. They don't do anything. They book bills that don't make any sense. They convince all these bands that it's a big deal and you have to draw all your family and friends and anyone you know and bother everyone and sell them $12 tickets. And then what? And then I get fucking couple $100 in my pocket for not doing anything, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they don't do anything. I'm telling you.
Sounds like a pretty sweet
Not
gig.
one of these promoters puts a person in a room.
No.
Artists bring their people. That's it. That is it. There's no such thing right now as just these low, like it used to be that low level promoters would try to make a name for themselves, and you'd want to go, all right, let's say I work for Rock Chicago. Okay, well, I want everyone to know that when they see a Rock Chicago show, that the people on stage are going to be whooping fucking ass. There's going to be a great time had by all. It makes sense as a bill. It's not a hip-hop group and then two teenage pop punk groups, which is what they used to do to us when we worked with these people. So shit, like whatever. They should have, a promoter should be going, man, I'm going to work for the integrity of the shows that I put on so that people can trust when I put on a show, they're going to come to it and check out the bands that I say are good. They do the opposite. They just hire anybody at any time and make them bring their friends. It's just such hack bullshit, and it's a waste of everyone's fucking time, and it's poisonous to the creative community. Utterly poisonous. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems harmless, and it seems just like it's just a gig, you know, whatever. He's coordinating and doing that. No. No. He's operating under false pretenses. Is what he's doing.
Yes.
You know, and all these guys, and not even this guy particularly, because who cares? Whatever. He's some guy that I fucking got into it with. But these guys operate under the false pretense that they're giving you opportunity.
Right.
But everyone, dude, your friends and your family are not your fan base. You're better off playing in front of 8 strangers that came there to see your music.
Yeah.
That came there to see your type of shit. And will take something away from it than to fucking have all the people you know pay to get into a venue that you don't fucking belong in, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then tolerate other bands that they have no interest
that they don't
in.
like. Right? Yeah, it's stupid.
No, I've never gone through the process of trying to book a show for myself, but is that like...
No, it's not hard. It's really easy.
So there's no reason that like a new band would be intimidated by it and need to find somebody
because they're pussies. That's why.
And he just like takes advantage of people who kind of just don't understand
or
what's
people
happening.
who don't want to do legwork. See, so for instance, when I do like an album release, I will find an appropriate venue that I say, okay, let's say I think I can get 100 people to come to this. Okay, well, I'm gonna go find the right place where those people are gonna fit, and I like the atmosphere, and the stage is good, and the drinks are not too expensive, and I consider a lot of stuff, right?
Right.
And I provide this cool show in this environment. That's me. I do it by calling the venue and saying, I want to bring you an opportunity. I'm shopping around. I'd like to see what you can offer me because I'm bringing you something. So that's what people fail to realize is I have value. I have a product. I'm bringing it to the venue.
Right.
They're going to talk to me just like any promoter. They want to know, oh, really? Can you bring a shitload of people in here to drink? Yes, I can. Here's the day I want to do it.
They'll drink a lot.
Here's my resume. Here's what I've done before, blah, blah, blah. You can do that as an artist. No fucking problem. You don't need these cocksuckers.
Okay.
You don't.
So
I posted that on this guy's page. Basically that whole argument of don't put money in this guy's hands. He's not putting anyone in the room for you. You can book the same venue on your own. Why put money in these fucking slime balls' hands.
Mm-hmm.
They all exist under false pretenses, and they serve no fucking purpose. In fact, they detract from the productivity of the creative community as a whole.
Did you call him a slime ball, or were you
No,
diplomatic?
I was just saying, just logically, I'm like, why would you give this guy money? What is this debate about?
Okay.
You don't need these fucking promoters that don't do anything. And so anyway,
And how did that go?
I pointed that out, and he takes down the whole thread. It deletes everything and unfriends me and whatever.
What?
Yeah, so I posted his company, on my Facebook page and whatever. I was like, hey, this is one of these parasitic promoters that you don't fucking need to be working with, and he's a cocksucker. And I pointed that out, and it made him so mad that he deleted an entire thread that had a bunch of local bands on it and stuff, and people were debating about all this stuff. He deleted the whole thing because I pointed out in clear and plain English what exactly makes him useless.
Yeah.
So he took he took that whatever, and he starts calling people. So I start hearing immediately, yo, this guy Mark Allen just fucking called me and asked how I know you and how long I've known you.
So
and blah, blah, blah.
he wrote down all your mutual friends, and
Yeah.
then he deleted you.
Well, he didn't block me, so he can still see my shit
okay.
because my shit's all public because I got so much going on,
Yeah.
So he starts calling people and going, how do you know Vinny Micco? What's he about? What's he, asking questions about me and stuff. And so I start hearing back from people. Dude, Mark Allen is like all pissed off about you saying promoters are useless and blah, blah, blah. And so
creepy.
So another guy, so hold on. So I post again. I say, yo, this guy's an asshole, whatever. You don't need these fuckers. And someone else comments on the post, he's also a pedophile or something. And they post this article. So that's what I want to clear up is he's not. I don't think he is. He was never charged with any sexual fucking crime. So he did something with a 15-year-old that scared the shit out of the 15-year-old or whatever. I don't know what it was. I honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
Or something like that happened. So I sent him a message and I said, hey, do you want to talk about this case? Because I'm going to cover it on my podcast because you're a fucking asshole. So I'm going to talk about this case where you pled guilty. He pled guilty.
Right.
He pled guilty. He took a plea deal basically to, here's what he says. He said back to me, you'll be reporting what on your podcast tomorrow? A rumor? A story that is 7 to 9 years old? Why would you report
7 to 9?
Yeah, that's another weird way of putting
Okay.
this. Why would you report? This is him. I just sent him a link to the article on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, is this you? I want to find out more about this. Can you let me know what's going on? Do you want to make any statement for my show and stuff?"
Oh boy.
And he's like, all right. So he says that. He said, you read the article, I assume. If you did, then you know the original charges were dropped because the kid changed his story 3 times, eventually admitting that he was not molested, not restrained. The state's attorney did not agree to reduce the charge. They offered it and threatened to go to trial with the original charges if the offer was not accepted within 5 minutes. Try being under that kind of pressure and listening to your attorney recommend taking the offer. If you read the story, then you know the headline is deceptive. The actual admission, not reported by the Daily Herald, that he was touched on the shoulder in an offensive, non-sexual way, as officially written in the court papers. The tabloid-esque headline suggests something worse. And I think he's right about that. 2 years probation, successfully served. No restrictions during probation except couldn't be alone with a minor. Internet access monitored for 2 years by probation. Meetings with the probation officer twice a month. Surprise home visits from probation. Allowed to book and run shows, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they really fucked the guy. Looking at his internet, home and vehicle search, computer, CDs, discs, cameras taken, examine and return. 3 years, 8 months being... strict intrusive examination being monitored, no further charges filed, nothing happened, so they never found anything on him.
Holy shit.
So he is basically saying, yeah, I've dealt with this for 9 years, people drag this up and whatever. So
7 to 9 years.
7 to 9 years. Yeah. So we went back and forth and it got pretty ugly, but but it didn't. But anyways, I would like, in all fairness, to say that I think he's unfairly characterized as, quote unquote, a kid toucher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A teen toucher.
Now, a parasitic drain on the artistic community? Yes, he is.
Yeah.
A talentless lump?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A fucking weakling, and a coward. Yeah, definitely.
I'd say so.
Yeah, but not a molester as it would happen.
Good for you, Mark Allen.
Yeah. So I don't know. Fair's fair. Whatever.
Okay, so it got ugly though.
Yeah. Right. Well, because I don't like him. I don't like what he does.
Don't like the cut of his jib.
In the music scene, and I don't like the way he talks.
Was he able to defend his job in any way to what you said?
Well,
I mean,
let's
did he
see.
try to?
Here's what he said. I told him that I don't like him because he censors his conversations, and I said something that was valuable for artists to fucking understand, and he deleted a thread where 30 people were talking to deal with my one comment that dismantled his fucking...
Couldn't he just delete the one comment?
I don't think you can do that.
No,
Can you? Someone
probably.
else's comment?
I think so.
I don't know.
If you run the page.
I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
So he admits here, he says, you did have something worthwhile to say, and I initially did nothing about it, then decided that you were no friend if you were telling bands not to work with promoters on my timeline, making my job that much harder. You're telling people not to work with me, so I unfriended you and took down the entire status. So he admits that's why.
Yeah.
And then you do this in retaliation. Is that fair? And I promote, man. I promote the fuck out of my shows.
Oh.
He doesn't. And I'm at allegedly in front of everything. And I'm at every one of my shows unless I have 2 the same day. The ones I am at, I am usually setting up the room, staying up all night to make sure things run right, and breaking down, clearing up after. No joke. I'm probably the hardest working promoter you know or don't know. I'm not going to call in or even listen. First, I have a second, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Or even
I said,
listen.
I've been dealing with this every week for 9 years. I'm also homeless, living out of my van.
Whoa.
My
You must
niece's
be a really
basement.
good promoter.
Hold on, I know. I'm also homeless, living out of my van, my niece's basement, my cousin's trailer home, and motels. Since my mom died and the bank made me sell the house because of the lien they put on it. I don't need any more stress. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so he lays all that on me, and I say to him, I says, well, if you've been dealing with this rumor for that long, then maybe it's time to explain your side of things. Like I said, we'd give you a chance to speak freely, but it's up to you. We're not trying to set you up. Whatever. And to paraphrase, I basically just said we're not trying to set you up, but I'm going to talk about it either way, so you might as well come on and talk to me. I really wanted to get him on the show.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I really did want to hear how he would justify what he does. But I understand the law and society often condemn people for things of this nature without knowing the facts, and I don't like that either. Anyways, that's it. I'll leave you alone. That's me. All right. So, and then he just says, whatever, I told you I've been explaining my side for a long time. And then he accuses me of threatening him, which is just, it was just a weird interpretation of language that didn't really make any sense. Like, he ignored punctuation to make this assumption that I was threatening him, is basically how it works out. Because I said, asking other local musicians about me and trying to censor conversations is not going to work out well for you. And then period. And then I said, I swear to you, we're not trying to set you up here. But he quotes me as saying, asking other locals about me and trying to censor conversations is not going to work out well for you, I swear to you.
Nice.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then he goes...
Well, clearly that's what you meant.
So this is where it got...
It's called subtext.
This is where it got bad. He asked me...
This is where it got bad.
This is where it got bad.
Okay.
He asked me he asked me if that was a threat, and I said, a threat? How could you have perceived that as a threat? All I'm telling you is that everything you ask people or say is getting back to me. If I wanted to go the violent route, I would just show up at one of your shows and knock your teeth out. Easily, too. That's clearly not the route I'm going here. So untwist your little panties and get it together. I think if your business is so fragile that a person can dismantle your image, thereby hurting your business, as you put it, in one paragraph, then you are indeed a parasite with no feasible function in the local music community.
Yeah.
I clearly offered you an olive branch, and you're too stupid to take it. Fine, have it your way. That's what I said to him. And then it just, then it got kind of whatever. He claims that he's not talking to people about me. I just got off the phone with somebody who's worried about their fucking shows now and whatever,
Really?
Oh, don't drag me into this and what. I'm like, I didn't drag anybody, dude. He's the one calling people and fucking figuring out how they know me,
Yeah.
I don't care what you guys do. You want to work with people like this? Fucking go ahead.
Yeah.
All you other local bands that think that you're going to get somewhere with this shit, fine. Go
Not
ahead.
gonna happen.
Who cares? Whatever. And then I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
He basically said he wasn't going to talk to me anymore.
Well, Mark Allen, you are on blast.
Nah.
But not for being a child molester.
Right. That's the main thing is I feel kind
I'm
of...
sorry, a teen toucher.
I feel kind of bad for the guy dealing with this actually for so long too. Like
Yeah.
he's really was the headline that goes around and stuff, and people probably most of the time only read the headline
and see the picture.
and see the picture of him
Yeah.
looking all. Oh, dude, his mugshot looks so bad too. He's just like he looks like a pedophile in his
Oh,
mugshot. It's like
bummer.
fucking just sad, sweaty guy. You know, just like it's pretty awful, but it's not fair. It's
Yeah.
not fair.
All right.
So, all right. Anyways, Mark Allen, I truly disagree with what you do out there in the music community, and most of the promoters like you. But I guess I will apologize for contributing to the propagation of that child toucher myth.
Well, we've quashed it as far as I'm concerned.
Local Chicago music promoter Mark Allen.
Not a teen toucher.
I wish he would have been on the show. Maybe if he hears this and hears that we're not calling him a child toucher, maybe he'll come on to debate the merits of what he does as a promoter.
That would be lovely.
Yes, because I'm very concerned about the state of creativity in America's cities.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons is that people can't get anywhere because a lot of the nice venues are controlled by these guys that don't fucking do anything.
They don't do it right.
That's why
yeah.
I said gatekeeper.
Right.
That's what he is. Not a promoter. He's a gatekeeper.
No, that's a perfect.
He's a bridge troll.
Perfect title,
He's a
yeah.
fucking bridge troll.
Ooh.
There you go.
What a creep. All right. Well, Jade Helm started.
Yeah, Tulsa. This headline says Jade Helm. 2 Tulsa cops reveal what is really happening inside a closed Walmart.
Okay.
Here we have a recent video by YouTube user High Impact.
All right. Well, we know.
High Impact Flix, Flix, where he speaks to a couple of police officers, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, regarding what is really going on inside of the Walmart that has been closed. So for months we've covered.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I gotta hold my breath because of these goddamn alcoholic hiccups.
They've been pretty much oversaturating the country with Walmarts, so that some of them are destined to close down and be large, warehouse style areas. There's been a lot of speculation about what it is, but a lot of people say FEMA camps, or they're stockpiling weapons for if China takes over during Jade Helm is a pretty popular theory. But so there's been all these speculation about what they're using these clearly planted empty Walmarts for. And then also it's been reported that there's a network of tunnels underneath that connect them, right?
Right.
So now what are these cops saying?
Well, you know what? Fuck. I gotta pull up the video. But what
Okay.
else do you remember? Just tell people what you remember about all that shit for a minute while I find this.
I kind of did. I remember yeah. Well, I mean, Jade Helm in general has started. That's
This site is weird. Like they're like the link to the video is like not in a fucking obvious place at all.
That's weird.
And it's not working. But I'll find it on YouTube real quick.
Okay. But Jade Helm has started. A lot of people have kind of latched onto the idea that it has something to do with the Chinese government, Chinese takeover, and I think a lot of that has to do with the name that they chose and using Jade for some reason. It takes place mostly in the Southwest. So a lot of people have kind of said, like, well, they specifically chose Jade, and it's obviously a code for something to do with China because Jade comes from China.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah, and these names always end up being pretty meaningful.
Yeah.
Down the road once
Eventually.
we figure everything out, right? Yeah, and remember that I want to mention again that poll that they did in Texas. Remember that shit we talked about? They polled like 1,200 registered voters, and something like 44% said that they thought Jade Helm might be just a way of implementing martial law.
Yeah. 44%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of
especially
people,
of registered voters.
Yeah.
Because like I pointed out, that's not even people like me. They're polling like regular fucking people that pay taxes and have jobs.
Yeah.
You know?
Legitimate contributors.
Not fucking gangsters like me.
Yeah. Off the grid. So, well, it's at least, I mean, it's obviously at least an exercise to practice implementing martial law if it's not actually happening right now.
I got major computer things happening.
Yeah?
Try to
Okay.
look this up. Just look up Tulsa Cops Jade Helm Walmart
All right.
or something on YouTube.
You
We'll
got
see
it.
if we can find it. Yeah, I got this. I should have restarted this computer before we started, and it's giving me fucking shitball problems. But yeah, the people are really nervous in Texas. Texas, say what you will about Texas, and I know people in the north have a fucking view of Texans that's ridiculous because Texas is a giant place. It's the size of it's bigger than most countries on the planet, and it's an amazingly diverse place with a rich history that rivals that of almost any other U.S. state. It's an interesting fucking place, and people have this unfair view of just crazy Texans and their guns and their whatever. It's an amazingly intricate society, and it's and not to mention. Oh, here it is, right? I think it popped up for me just now. My computer unfroze. You found it?
Does that look right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see it.
You got the audio?
Yeah, I'm plugged in.
Okay. Go ahead and play it.
It's playing.
Gather information about one of the 5 Walmart stores that closed for alleged plumbing issues. 2 very cool Tulsa.
This is High Impact Flicks, Flix, on YouTube. We're playing his video. Go ahead.
All right.
Police officers who were sitting in the parking lot below descended upon me pretty quickly to question me about a break-in at that very Walmart that had just occurred minutes before I arrived on the scene.
An empty
We ended up getting
Walmart.
into a short discussion about Jade Helm, the possible link between Walmart, FEMA camps, and the corporation's potential involvement in these realistic military training exercises. They shared something interesting about what's going on inside Tulsa's Walmart, and I can only speculate that the same thing applies to the other closed Walmart stores. Here's the video.
Hey, how you doing? Good. Pretty interesting little contraption there. You don't have anything to do with the break-in down there at Walmart, do you?
I don't know anything about a break-in. I'm not even from around here.
Okay. Well, a couple things. One, the international airport is right over there.
Right,
so
yeah.
It's a no-fly zone. 2,
Yeah. Well, it's a no-fly zone above 400 feet. That's FAA.
4 or 5?
4.
About 400?
Yeah, I was only 180.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's
I
got a
love the
drone or
French
something, right?
Yeah.
But we had a break-in down there, and when you were flying right above us, we were just wondering if the guys that broke in are laying down on the roof. We just had a fall through because we just had a break-in.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
You have any idea on you, so you can just make a record.
My name's
yourself?
Brian.
Brian, Billy, this is Ross.
Nice to meet you, man.
That's me.
So,
How long were you flying?
What's that?
How long were you flying?
180.
No, how long?
Oh, how long? 7 minutes max. Why?
because we were hoping you might have got footage of somebody coming out of the store.
Oh, did it just now happen?
Yeah.
I saw 2 guys when I came in, but you guys were already in the parking lot.
Yeah.
The guys in the red truck.
Ah, fuck. Where are they going to get to talking about the
Oh
real
man,
shit?
I meant to be here earlier too. That would have been great to get that on
That would have
footage.
been awesome.
Come on, Andrew, skip
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm skipping.
Fucking idiots just babbling.
Yeah, when we first got here, there were cars like taking off.
Keep going. Supposedly, this guy's going to talk to these cops about Jade Helm, and they're going to give us some awesome information about what's going on with the Walmart conspiracy.
It's all alarms and good.
yeah,
It's alarms up and down, left
Right,
and right.
right.
But as far as being manned, like someone watching actively, they have a separate company that just mans the alarm.
Well, let me ask you this: Why is this Walmart closed? Because I heard they're going to be down for like 6 months.
Well, they're going to be down for several more months that I know of, but then again, think about how Walmart. So,
Right.
they actually are gutting it.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, the 2 levels.
So they're
you saw
gutting
right
it.
from contact.
Yeah.
And man, they're gutting the whole thing.
Even though it was only supposed to be closed temporarily.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a plumber then again, so I don't know about that either. But they are indeed gutting it. That's why they have those dumpsters there. You know, when they first put.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
even though, okay, so allegedly it was closed to repair plumbing, and that's why it was going to be closed temporarily, and now this guy says that they're completely gutting it, which would go along.
and again, the basic principle here that like people have pointed out is, you start fitting things together, and you think, man, places that are like giant corporations that set up every fucking 2 blocks, they oversaturate the market to the point that it doesn't make sense, and they end up closing. Could that be part of the overall plan in the first place to have this network of giant buildings that are, meant for this
Yeah.
purpose? Like, the idea here is that these would be FEMA camp things or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Walmart has kind of always operated that way too. The way that they have kept their prices so low for so long, besides paying their workers such a low wage, is that they will buy a line of clothing from a company and then lose money, if they buy a line of jeans from somebody. They lose money on the jeans for a while, and then
but wait until they drive all the other local businesses out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they go in and they scoop up all these companies that they have forced into the brink of bankruptcy
And buy 'em for
save
nothing.
them,
Yeah.
quote unquote, save them.
Right.
So they basically oversaturate their own market in order to scoop up the extra things that are dying off around them.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that they would do that on a larger scale too, because they have all of the money in the entire world. I mean, they have the Walton family has more money than any family.
Yeah, it's a
Ever.
shame. That original guy was not that bad. Sam Walton,
Yeah.
the original dude. I read a biography on him. And it really was like he was kind of just a quirky, passionate guy that got really successful. And I think it was like in the 80s when his kids took over that it started, they probably just listened to lawyers and just everything got ruined, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm even right about that, but the original guy seemed like a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
Sam Walton, yeah. Yeah, he used to treat employees pretty good, I think. And he was like constantly traveling and finding better products for his stores. He was like one of these guys that was just all over the country all the time looking at new innovations and trying to have the new products and
He was like the real deal.
yeah, real store guy.
Yeah, superstore.
Fucking great store guy. That's
Yeah.
Sam Walton.
Well, then he created something successful and then it got exploited.
Yeah, you
'cause
can't
that's
do
how
that.
it works. Yeah.
You can't have success without it being corrupted, apparently.
No, it can't happen no matter how nice you are of a shop owner. So now they're closing good old Sam Walton stores into FEMA camps to support martial law.
What else are these guys saying? Do you want to hear these cops anymore? Or
I don't know. I think we kind of, I mean,
let's see what else is it.
Plumbing issues, but then
Let's skip ahead a little. See what else is going on here.
nobody's pulled any. Okay, so you have heard of it.
Oh man, I've been having fun with them on Facebook. Yeah, I'll tell my friends, oh yeah, concrete trucks going in right now, you know.
Right.
But
Oh, okay. So they're talking. So
no, there's
the cop is basically saying there he is into the FEMA camp theory, and he like tells people on Facebook what's going on in and out of the Walmarts and shit. So yeah, these cops are basically saying they think there's some legitimacy to that, and they've been keeping an eye on it.
that's interesting.
So it's out in Tulsa.
Yeah. Oklahoma is one of the states in Jade Helm too, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Well, there's like 9 states now.
Yeah, they were added, I think, a little bit later on. But, all right, good. Well, Jade Helm is underway, and journalists are not allowed.
Is it started already?
Yeah, it has started.
Holy shit! I didn't know that it started already.
Yeah.
So they got like military troops on the ground right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's kicking off this week.
Okay.
Maybe we aren't positive. Here, look at this picture. Look in front of a Walmart, actually.
God damn.
It's we're looking at like a truck with a bunch of militarized looking police officers clung to the outside of it.
Yeah, and they're
Driving
training
past a Walmart.
They're training to deal with hostile domestic operatives. Mm-hmm. We're there.
This is what's happening.
We're there,
It's
everyone. Where's there? I think you know. We're there.
It's happening. I'll share this picture with everybody too. But,
Where's there? Don't act like you don't know.
I'm
We're
sorry.
there.
It officially starts on July 15th. However, the participants have started to assemble in their designated areas.
Yeah.
So, and part of this too is they're supposed to be training to fit in with a population without drawing attention to themselves. So they could have already been doing that for a long time, being new in the neighborhood and just like getting a lay of the land and feeling it out. Because that's part of the exercise. The reason it's so sprawling is because they want them to adapt to new environments constantly. So they can't run different exercises in the same areas.
Well, and also then people would start to get too fed up. Like people will put up with it for a little while. They have to temper the whole thing, you know? Just like when you add eggs to a mixture which has been heated. And you must temper to make sure the eggs do not cook.
Right.
This must also be done with societies when implementing martial law.
Yeah.
Especially when
It's got to be done delicately.
especially when said society is one that is, shall we say, liberty-centric.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're there.
So I guess we'll just keep an eye on it. But they are being very strict about what kind of journalism is allowed to occur in terms of videographing and getting interviews with people. It's pretty much it's pretty much nothing as of this point. There are photos.
They're not allowing anything.
No military personnel are allowed to give interviews or anything like that. They're working, they're on duty. They're
war kings.
They're war. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
So I guess that'll be interesting to see how that develops, but it officially starts in 3 days. So
Jade Helm.
Goodbye.
God damn, that's a creepy feeling. Like, we've been talking about this for so long. And now
here it is.
This is like just any kind of date. It's like knowing the day that you have to go to jail for 6 months, Like,
yeah.
Just any one of these fucking encroaching dates, your fucking court date that's way off, and you're like, cool, I don't have to go to court till September.
Yeah.
I'm chilling, and then it's fucking 3 days away.
So far
You're
away.
Just, this fucking, ugh.
Yeah.
This is one of those just,
Here it is.
kind of feelings.
We didn't do any of the things we said we'd do before Jade Helm.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly how I feel. Like, wait, where's my militia? Fuck. I should have moved to Louisiana and joined one of those crazy militias years ago.
Swamp militia.
Now I can't go. They'll think I'm a spy.
Yeah, absolutely. You're way too northernized.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that the government has had enough time to still raid a large marijuana field.
Oh, good.
Which they then found out belonged to a large Canadian tobacco company.
Oh, very good. I'm glad.
But it's the first time that they're a Canadian company growing weed on American land illegally. And
hold on, a Canadian tobacco company was, and they knew what they were doing, and it wasn't just some fuckers that worked for them that were just growing some weed.
It was on Native American land in California, so they probably thought they were taking advantage of a loophole, but it may not apply to.
So there is weed legal for something in Canada? Or?
Yeah.
It's all legal?
I think so.
No, it's not.
No. Medicinal. I think they get medicinal.
So medicinal. So they're growing for medicinal to sell for something or whatever.
I guess, or maybe they're growing in order to take advantage of what's happening in America.
Wait, so if they're on a reservation and they're doing it legally, what's the deal?
Well, it may not be legally because they're Canadian, and also it's not legal federally, and this is an international offense because they're a Canadian company committing the offense on American land.
I used to hear that a lot of the weed we used to smoke when we were teenagers came from Indian reservations.
I used to hear that the really good weed that we would smoke when we were in high school came from British Columbia.
Well, because BC's, that was the good-ass weed back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
We've
I'll bet.
come a long way.
Yeah. Nestle is allowed to illegally bottle water against a water ban in California because they're on an Indian reservation, but they're an American
grow some
company.
Fucking weed around here?
Well, Canadians can't.
Canadians are the nicest people ever. We should let them do whatever they want.
But it falls into like a weird gray area because the federal government still prosecutes for major weed offenses. That dispensary that got raided real famously a few weeks ago when the cops broke in and talked about kicking the lady in the wheelchair.
Woman
kick
cop
her
was
in her
like,
fucking nub.
I wanted to kick her in her nub.
Yeah, it turns out that woman was a manager of that dispensary, not a client,
not a customer. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
who cares?
got
Whatever.
raided a second time last week by the cops again.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't understand what has to happen in order for people to be able to create a weed business without the threat of. I thought they were going to stop doing that.
We've all known plenty of weed dealers that made plenty of money illegally. That's the way you run a weed business.
Yeah. Illegally.
Off the books. Yeah. Off the books. That's the way that it's done successfully.
Yeah, that's so I don't know, do you think this tobacco company is going to get charged in any way?
I don't know how that fucking shit works because tobacco's powerful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I'm surprised that this even came to light at all.
Yeah, I think just because it's an international thing.
Well, and the government right now is just pulling its hair out, just fucking freaking out about what to do about drugs.
Yeah.
Because
there's no precedent.
They've been riding so long on a ridiculous fucking lie. They've been riding so long on just utter bullshit that as it starts to be dismantled, as you see, most people are going, oh, come on. It's absolutely ridiculous that weed is still illegal. As this whole they know it's a slippery slope to identifying the basic hypocrisy in regulating substances in the first place.
Right.
So they are just beside themselves in panic, trying to figure out what to do with drugs. How do we keep this going? How do we keep shaping people's perception so we can keep cocaine illegal?
Yeah.
And the stuff that we really make money on, you know? And I think that's where you start to get some of this stuff where we need to go after this tobacco company. You know, that's maybe it's about the statement, you know, it's about the fucking drugs are still drugs just because Colorado did, you know, this is still dangerous. Fucking Chris Christie, you know, wants to run for president. And have you ever heard him talk about drugs?
No.
It will just, I mean, I want to fucking, fuck. We got to stop saying shit like that.
Yeah.
I want to,
campaign against him.
I'd like to box his ears.
Yeah.
I wanted to say I wanted to kill him.
Yeah. I could tell what you wanted to say.
Dude, when you hear him, like, and these people that are so anti-drug, it just makes my fucking blood boil at this point. They're just pure evil. It doesn't take a genius to understand that it's keeping drugs illegal that causes all of the murder, all of the bullshit that they point to as being the dangers in drugs, as they breed this fucking ill in society that just, and people just stealing and robbing for their drugs and gangs shooting up the streets, and it's all because it's illegal and the prices are fucking ridiculous, you know.
And that's all it takes.
And yeah, I mean, if it's all any person with any average level of intellect can think for 10 minutes and understand why every drug should be legal.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a tiny bit of logic.
God, I hate everyone. I hate this country. This fucking place sucks. Fuck this place. This is stupid. I don't.
It's like a big elaborate trick.
Yeah. It's like 80% of this country is so fucking stupid. I can't even handle it.
Yeah.
I really can't.
I
can't handle it. I just can't. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I want to jump into the sky and just become like a flying spider and start fucking spitting venom on people and destroying cities.
Shooting webs at people.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're an idiot.
Dude, I just can't. I don't know. I just can't. For years, I was fine. For years, I was going, I'll just be tolerant of everyone and let people catch up on their own with some of this stuff. And the hypocrisy is the main thing. And the control. Yeah. Controlling other people's behavior. I'll let people catch up on it. And I don't know. I'm ready to just I don't know, fucking go move out on the top of the mountain and just fucking throw axes at skunks all day or whatever people do out there. I don't know what happens.
That sounds all right.
Yeah, out in rural communities.
Yeah.
Whatever you do out there. Start up the fucking generator and put a slideshow on for your friends. I don't know what happens out there. But yeah, dude,
that sounds about right.
I can't deal with. Yeah, I'm just done. People take these people seriously. Mm-hmm. That's why it bothers me so much.
Yeah.
You talk about like politicians that make ridiculous statements about drugs, and then other people support them because they feel the same way.
Yeah. It's that way with every.
I don't want to be in a country with them.
No, me neither. Especially not in charge.
Let's start my own country.
Where? Can we do that?
Place is fucked. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, we probably could. We would make it about 36 hours.
Yeah.
And and the Coast Guard would just come and shoot a rocket at our little island.
Just to blow the entire thing up.
And and there would be a headline the next day that just said, "What island?"
Yeah.
It's a picture of a river with no island in it.
Yeah.
That headline says, "What island?"
Big question mark.
Shut up.
Yeah. It was nothing.
Go back to sleep. Everything's fine.
It was a test.
Everything is all right. Your leaders are taking care of you.
If we purchase an island somehow, can we become a sovereign nation? Is that a thing? Celebrities purchase islands. How does that work?
I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I don't
Let's
care.
look into it.
No, you know what? How about let's just go hang ourselves? Fuck it.
No.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Tub geometry. Oops, where did it go? There it is. Come back. This computer's fucked. I'm hanging myself.
No.
This is ridiculous. I can't. I don't
Because
have
of the
one fucking
computer?
computer that works right. There's a spider right fucking next to me.
No.
What the fuck? It was just hanging from the ceiling. Right. Look at this. Do you see this? Look at that right there.
Oh my god.
I'm already pissed off enough. The fucking government and my fucking computers, and now there's a fucking spider sitting almost right on my fucking shoulder.
Jesus Christ.
Did you see that?
Yeah, he's right there. I see him.
Fuck this country.
My dreams affect reality, and now I'm having nightmares. Simple only code don't make the night scared. Give a shit for the
I want to say that the name of that band is Zig Tibra or something.
That sounds about right.
That was a good song, though.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Let's see here. I'm letting it play again. Yeah, Zig Tibra. Zigtebra. That was cool. I don't think I played that before. You have seen that shit though, right? With everybody wiping their ass. Well, not everybody.
well,
It's more often kind of just one kind of person.
One kind of people.
Wiping their ass with the American flag.
Oh yeah. Oh, who hasn't seen that?
Yeah, a little on the nose for me as far as a fucking social demonstration goes.
I call them
You know what I mean? It's kind of whatever. It's just like, what is that supposed to be? Like? Is that supposed to be clever? Like, that's just the most obvious thing you could do. You know, like that's what's disappointing about it to me. It's just no creativity in that.
No, not at all. It's clear.
I guess
It sends a clear message.
You know what though? I guess the average person is so fucking shocked by that it's effective.
Yeah, for sure. Standing on them wasn't enough. You have to make it a little more clear. The message you're sending by standing on it is actually, no, I'm taking a poo.
God, and a nation of children will erupt in protest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
They
my God.
will kill you.
Oh my God, I wiped in the boat with a flag. I can't believe it. Get out of the country if you don't like the fucking flag. I can't believe it's wiping. Put it right on your butt. That's not fair.
They'll make real whiny YouTube videos until the end of time.
God. Why does everyone fall for everything so easily? What the fuck?
It doesn't make any sense. All right, do we want to hear
God.
this flag challenge they're calling it?
Fine. Go ahead.
All right.
The flag challenge.
Here we are. Let's come
This
to
is,
this.
Yeah, you're all retarded. All of you. I want to go to Argentina and live with Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler's got the right idea. Oh, boy.
Is this going to play or no?
It doesn't look like it.
What the
No,
fuck is
I
going
have
on with
no
the fucking
idea.
videos tonight?
No idea what's happening. Let's see. Maybe it'll fix itself. We'll just wait a second. Basically, a young woman challenged all of her followers to start wiping their asses with the flag and taking pictures of it.
Why don't you just have it on YouTube? You're trying to play it from some weird fucking site. That's what you're doing. That's what you're up to.
That's what you're up to. She's also apparently like aggressively gay and does like straight shaming kind of projects. She's like an artist / photographer.
Sounds like a real fun gal.
Yeah, doesn't she?
Wouldn't she be cool to just joke around with at a party?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably real fucking good sport, you know?
Definitely. There's no way she's not. Maybe this video's been taken down since
No,
these
it's
links
because
were put up.
it's just because you didn't go to YouTube.
I just tried to open it in the YouTube player.
Hold on. This stupid music is playing. Well, I did. It's on YouTube immediately when I looked it up.
Oh. I was just going through the article that we had.
So all of y'all know about this thing that went on with this shitty ass flag, right? And everybody, all these fucking troglodytes is getting mad because we stepping on a precious piece of cloth made in China. So I'm gonna start a new challenge. Eric is out on bond. And I'm gonna start a little bit of challenge of my own, y'all. It's called the shit flag challenge. Wipe your ass on the flag of imperialist nations. That includes the United States.
All right.
So just so that you Urugus, you
Okay.
troglodytes, you fucking...
Up till right now, I'm totally with her.
Yeah.
How
She's
about you?
making a lot of sense.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like I said, a flag is what it is.
Yeah.
All it is a symbol, a method of indoctrination.
Yeah.
And a piece of cloth.
Toilet seat complexioned individuals get even more angry and more upset. We gonna hold an event on fucking Christmas Day doing this shit all across the U.S. and wherever else people in imperialist nations who are suffering under the boot of white supremacy want to do it. Like, if y'all want to do that, hit me up and I'll give you tips and shit and all the other kind of shit to help you protect your identity, to help you appeal to large masses of people so that your event gets out there. Because if y'all sick of this shit and we can't, as many of us can't take direct action, we might as well piss them off. Bitch, because what the fuck you gonna do?
All right, yeah, that's all I need to hear. I kind of like this bitch, actually.
Yeah, I wonder how she felt about the Confederate flag and whether she felt like that should be removed.
She seems a little more intelligent than that. She seems like she's kind of on my side of things of like, what's actually offensive is, the winning side that wrote the history and the flag that still flies today under all the atrocities we fucking commit.
Yeah.
Over. We don't fly flags under things.
Yeah, well.
Over all the atrocity. I agree with this militant black lady. I like her.
Yeah.
She's cool. I don't know. She seems fine to me so far.
Yeah, Sierra McGrone is her name, by the way.
Yeah, so she wants everybody to wipe their heinies with American flags in a show of disrespect to American military here and abroad.
Is it all people or is it just black people?
I think that she'd probably be happy to see anybody do it, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know. She's like making the black power fist in this photo, and
she's pretty black.
Yeah, she is. She's also, our love is militant, she says.
Let's see what else she says.
I remember when we went up to the Capitol and was stepping on that bitch ass flag, this shit flag. And all these white people was driving by saying mad racist shit like, go back to Africa. Bitch, I will. After you give me my reparations.
Why do you want to go to Africa, you fucking idiot? Are you serious?
You're from America, you
no.
moron.
I'd like to get away from government oppression. Where should I go? Africa?
Oh, it sounds lovely.
Fucking retard.
Yeah.
Why would you want to go to Africa?
I hear the Republic of Congo is beautiful this time of year.
Bitch, I will go to Africa. Bitch, take me to Liberia.
Yeah.
After I get my reparations, put me on that boat.
I'll be a queen.
Stupid ass bitch. I liked her 2 minutes ago.
Well, she did something pretty funny. She posted, somebody found this screenshot of her Facebook where she posted a picture of a young white girl shooting an automatic gun at a shooting range. And there's like a bottle of Snapple next to her or whatever. You can see the picture up there.
Oh, yeah.
And she put the caption, "Look at this disgusting thug. Hashtag thug, hashtag terrorist, hashtag murderer."
Yeah, that's funny.
The girl's wearing like protective eyewear.
Yeah. She's not all bad. It's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
And people are obviously taking that very seriously now that she's issued this challenge.
Well, it's worth pointing out that is a fair fucking observation to say, hey, if somebody posts a picture of a young 6-year-old kid with a rifle in camouflage clothing, all you think is his dad's taking him hunting. If you post a picture of a black kid holding a rifle or a gun, you think, oh, fucking kid trying to be a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a fair observation.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And especially when you consider that, like, who really needs the gun more?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a fair observation, I suppose.
All right. Well,
I suppose they got us on that one.
Are you gonna participate in this movement
Whitey,
on Christmas?
Took one on the chin, huh? Sorry.
I said, are you gonna participate in this on Christmas? and wipe your butt with the flag.
No, I wouldn't wipe my butt with the flag because you know why? I cannot be bothered to participate in anything to do with flags.
First, you have to buy a flag.
I simply cannot be bothered, Andrea. I can't. Yeah. I cannot. I do not have. One. I do not have the time. I do not have the patience for such mundane trivialities. I cannot fathom spending my time in this manner. But I understand why people do it. I understand.
Yeah.
It feels good to go rah rah. Let's get them. Fucking get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does to a point, but that wears off pretty quickly.
Well,
don't you think?
I mean, it feels good at a certain phase in your life. So if you're working through things in your life where you need to get some anger out, go wipe your ass with whatever flag you don't like. Put it on YouTube. Argue with everyone that doesn't like it. Have a great fucking day. What is that going to do? I don't know what that's going to do, but you know, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. I don't give a fuck, dude. I could not possibly give a fuck less about a bitch ass flag. I like to meet this bitch and tell her how little I fucking care about her stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
Like to see what she had to say. Well, hold on.
I hate the flag.
Let's see what else she says.
I'll go back to Africa after you take your fuck ass soldiers out of Africa, killing up our people. Yes, I will gladly go back to Africa after y'all motherfuckers take your asses back to Europe. And see, it's like they will fucking drive by saying...
Yeah, I guess I judged her a little prematurely on her point there. I should let her finish. Yeah, see, all right, whatever. Now I like this bitch again.
Mad racist shit, but bitch, you won't get out this car and take the flag from me. I bet you won't, and I wish you would, so I can give me a reason to fucking put some bruises on your face.
Ooh.
Yowza.
Like, it's that funny. You think you're making it out to be that serious, so it must be that serious. But I swear to God, if one of y'all motherfuckers run up on me, I'm gonna be the last motherfucker you run up on.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, though.
Oh, what a
Send me
roller
pictures of that
coaster.
shit. If you want me to blow your face out, I can blow your face out.
Yeah, this one's a real
like
firecracker,
because
you
I
know?
think it's just funny that these fucking troglodyte ass motherfuckers is get so upset over a fucking flag and so upset over abortion and all this other type of shit, but they're not mad when people that looks like me are getting killed. Fuck all of y'all. I hope all of y'all fucking die painful ass deaths. All of you. I wish all of you would die. Honestly, I do.
Is that how it ends?
I believe in white supremacy.
That was Hillary Clinton's take on that. No, that is, yes, it is how it ends. Yes, it is, actually.
That's fantastic.
I cut it off right at the end, yeah. Yeah, I like that chick.
Yeah.
She's got some anger.
Yeah, she does. She
She's
wants
like
to
me.
bruise you.
She's like me. She's like, fuck the nuance.
Yeah.
I see my enemy.
Just let him have it.
And I'm coming at him.
Yeah.
One area that I have no nuance is police.
No,
I'm
absolutely
like,
not.
you know when you see like, you know when you see like footage from Cops, the show or something, or you see YouTube footage where like there's some police in like a black neighborhood and they're doing something and there's a bunch of people crowded around, and then you see like the cop like talk to a little kid or something, and then the mom like comes storming out of the house like, you know, like, Antoine, what the fuck you know you don't talk to no police, you know, like just drags him away. That's me. I'm easily as unreasonable and completely fucking anti-cop as that lady.
Like, Antoine's mom.
As Antoine's mom in that. You know what I'm talking about? You've seen that clip. There's tons of those clips of just like, you know, people that are just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't fucking talk to a cop right in front of a cop, you know? Get your fucking ass inside. You know, it's like, that's me.
Well,
I have no nuance with police. I just fucking hate all of them. Did you see Joe Rogan had that cop on his podcast?
No.
Yeah. Yes, Andrea.
Oh.
Joe Rogan had a. All right. So you remember with there was going around like a viral article about the ex-Baltimore cop who was exposing all, because that was what was it, Freddie Gray, I think was the guy's name. That was what sparked the Baltimore riots and all that shit. So around that time, this ex-Baltimore cop starts speaking up on Twitter,
right,
and saying, "Hey, I had to quit because of a shoulder injury years ago, but here's what I used to fucking do." And here's
I believe we read his tweets on the air here.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So Joe Rogan had him on his podcast.
I
think that it might be official that I no longer like Joe Rogan's podcast.
What happened?
I don't know. I never liked it that much. It's not one of my go-tos, really. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a little too boring and dry for me usually. I don't know. But it's like I couldn't understand why he opened the interview with this like kind of really cautious, like laying out the pretenses for everything, going like, well, now I think there's a lot of good cops out there, and I have friends who are police and blah 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 and all this stuff, and I'm just like,
God bless you for what you do.
He went through this whole like 2-minute like pro police thing, and I'm just like, fuck, I think I don't like Joe Rogan anymore.
Yeah,
just like
now, how is this interview gonna go?
I don't like anyone that likes police.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's how it is.
It's getting there.
That's fucking how it is. I told some people, I was at a bar not long ago, and some cop came up and talked to some of my friends outside, and I caught myself 10 minutes later because I saw them through the window talking to a cop, and then he left, and I came outside, and I was like angry. I don't know, it was irrational, but I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking to a fucking cop? What'd you tell him? What the fuck are you doing? You don't talk to fucking police. And they're like, dude, relax. He just was like, somebody fell down, and he was asking us if we saw what happened or whatever. I'm like, you don't fucking talk to fucking police. I'm not hanging out with you motherfuckers anymore. It like disturbed me.
Yeah.
Fucking, I can't handle it.
How dare you comply?
So Joe Rogan does this whole thing, and then they go into this whole conversation where the guy, I forget his name. Are you finding this or?
The cop?
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Wood.
Michael Wood. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have the clip too?
Yes.
We could listen to the beginning of it to see what I'm talking about real quick, but he lays out everything that the cops do. It's all the shit we already know. This is the thing. It reeks of psyop, Andrea.
Yes.
It reeks. It fucking reeks. It does. It really does. Okay. Understand this. The powers that be completely fucking understand everything about the way society is shifting in their perception of law enforcement. So, in order to keep control of the narrative, they're going to need figureheads to act as stepping stones in thought and philosophy.
Right.
So they're going to need a whistleblower to come out and go like, no, I am the good one. Let me represent that idea and take this whole savior role in the media. And you know what I mean? And he's getting treated like he's doing something incredibly noble. Well, how about every motherfucker who's ever been brutalized by police who has spoke up on it? But no, this guy's cool because he has done it and then admits to it.
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude. If this guy was on this show, I'd tell him to eat a fucking dick and get the fuck out of my house. Fucking pig.
Eat a
fuck
dick,
is Joe
bitch.
Rogan doing, dude?
So turning on the force and trying to expose them is not enough for you if someone has ever been a police officer? No?
No, are you serious? No. You've already gone out and created the fucking ripple effect in society of your oppression. Your fucking hand-to-hand combat against the unarmed American citizen has already rippled out and had exponential consequences on society. No, you don't get to now be a media darling.
And also, he didn't just
fuck this guy.
Didn't choose to quit. He had an injury and was forced to quit.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you.
He would have kept going out and bashing heads.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we listen to some of this or
just pull up the very beginning? Go ahead. Yeah, because this is bullshit, dude. I don't know what the fuck.
Cop that's on the beat right now in Baltimore. What happens to the cops that are listening to this right now? What the fuck can they do?
These guys have an incredibly hard time right now because, like you're saying with Bat.
No.
That's just a clip.
Oh, okay. At the very beginning of the whole episode. Here.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's where Joe Rogan will set the whole thing up and be very pro-police, and do his whole... What's everyone thinks you can't go fully anti-law enforcement.
Right.
Or are they afraid to? I guess people in high-profile positions are afraid to.
Yeah.
If I was Joe Rogan, I might be afraid to.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he gets away with a lot of fucking illegal stuff on his podcast. I think there's been a lot of weed and DMT and shit going on, right? And
there's and he's one of those like Louis C.K. where he kind of like played the game and now he has like a certain immunity. but
like a free speech immunity.
Yeah, where he can like say
Louis
something
CK,
fucked
dude.
up, and people are just like, "Oh, well, that's not that bad."
Louis
because,
C.K.
you
is
know.
the king of that shit. Of like his most of his fans are like mainstream liberals. I've noticed. Do you notice that, right? And he will go up and talk about like raping a baby and setting it on fire or some shit.
Yeah.
And these are all the same people that when like Don Imus said nappy-headed hoes lost their fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When,
but then
when Kramer dropped N-bombs.
certain people manipulate that base to the point that then they're permitted to do whatever they please.
Right.
Louis C.K. is the fucking king of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit. But okay, go ahead. Play the very beginning of this.
For folks who don't know the story, Michael, as he prefers to be talked to as, directed as, referred to as, you
Jesus, fucking good start there.
And you put a string of tweets that I read that was on Huffington Post. And that's when I got interested in this whole story, because it's very rare that someone who's a cop comes out and tells about all the shit that they experience. I have friends that are cops, and I know there's a lot of good cops out there. Just like there's good everything. There's, Sam Harris and Dan Carlin just did a podcast recently together. It's a really excellent podcast. And one of the things they were talking about people in power, people that are politicians, that there's the whole spectrum. You get great people that are genuinely trying to do good, and you also get psychopaths. No. It seems like you ran into a lot of fucking...
maybe it's worth saying, since we are so anti-law enforcement on the show, it's always worth acknowledging we're not saying that these people can't be quote-unquote good people in their day-to-day lives when they're not being cops.
Right.
However, it is impossible to do the job of a police officer in a moral fashion.
Right, because the job is inherently immoral.
The job requires immoral behavior in order to keep the job.
In order to even obtain the job.
How so?
You have to be willing to prove that you will behave in an immoral way. They would never hire you to be a police officer if you said, well, I'll stop crime, but I'm not going to write citations, and I'm not going to do traffic enforcement, and I'm not going to
I see. Right.
enforce tickets. And
right. Yeah, so, you see what I'm saying there? There's that, he has to do that little setup of like, oh, I know most cops are fine, there's good cops, and there's like, dude, stop it.
Yeah. Just
stop it.
Just give it up.
Just stop. Jesus Christ. And these guys that have been in show business for a long time have had relationships with police because oftentimes they're security or fucking whoever a lot of ex-law enforcement ends up around show business and stuff, doing these various jobs. And so they have a skewed perspective. They've also people who have been in the public eye and successful and famous for, say, more than 15 years don't deal with police in the way that the rest of us do.
Right.
Sorry.
No, they
it's easy to say there's good cops when your podcast has 10 million downloads every fucking month and you have your face on a billboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's easy cops are nice to me. I wonder why.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, really.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So, I don't know, dude.
If you're not a celebrity and a cop recognizes you, it's usually not a good thing for your case.
I was getting the cuffs put on my my fragile musician's wrists and which are made from manipulating instruments and not the fisticuffs and just brutality of dealing with law enforcement. It's very traumatizing to me. And I was having these metal shackles put on my beautiful milky white wrist skin and just my delicate wrists. What a fag. And
all right.
And so they're putting the cuffs on me and I'm going, it just occurred to me, I was like, I turned to the guy and I'm like, well, fuck did you pull me over in the first fucking place? And he literally says, because you're you.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
Think I remember that.
Because I know who you are, and I know that you fucking, all you do is crime. So I pulled you over.
Yeah, I think you were actually on your way to come
and I was
pick
like,
me up.
Can you do that?
I don't think that's...
I don't think you're supposed to be doing that.
No.
But guess what happens?
It was done.
I couldn't afford the lawyer that would fight based on all that shit. I could only ever afford the lawyers that knew how to make deals.
Right.
That's what you get for, $500,000. You get the lawyer that knows the prosecutor enough to get the not so bad sentence.
And you get like one step above worst case scenario.
Once you get a little bit older and you figure out, hey, fuck, I'm gonna shell out the $2,500 for the lawyer that can get some shit done.
Right.
That'll actually get me off of the shit.
Yeah. That's the key.
That's where you figure it out. When you're young, you just go, fuck, I'm just going to get some lawyer as cheap as I can so that I'm not naked, But they just sell you to the prosecutor.
And it used to be if you got arrested for having like a pipe with you, it was $250, I think.
$750, Andrea.
Not when I got arrested for that.
You're a piece of shit because when I was in high school, it was a mandatory minimum $750 for paraphernalia.
If you were being charged by the state.
Right.
But not by the county or the town.
Andrea, I didn't understand that.
I paid $250, but like that seems like an absurdly low number at this point. You would never, I would never get a lawyer for any amount of money to afford a $250 charge.
The last weed charge that I had, when it was all said and done, between lawyers, court fees, fines, fucking classic. Oh, dude, when the raping was complete, $3,000.
Yeah.
For what? 1.5 grams of weed and a pipe.
Yeah. I spent probably...
Wait a second. Ask me why I don't give a fuck if people wipe their ass with this flag. Ask me.
Why?
That was rhetorical.
Oh. Yeah, the last time I dealt with a weed charge, I was riding in the car with some weed and got pulled over. It was on nobody's person. And I ended up paying probably $1,200 to $1,500 altogether.
Right.
And that was insane. I had a suspended prison sentence for that, actually.
Oh, dude, I've been supposedly on a suspended sentence. I've been overlapping court cases damn near since I was fucking 15 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a couple years there where I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been just fucking one thing after another. So this most recent case that I have, now I'm back in the system, as listeners of the show know. Mm-hmm. Before that, I had experienced 3 years or so of not going to court, not going to probation. Do you understand that literally from the time I'm 16 years old to fucking 26, 27, I was in the system?
Yeah. That's a long time.
I had something to fucking deal with that entire time, damn near. 10 months off here and there,
Yeah.
But then I'd get in a fight, or then I would get arrested for weed, or then I'd fucking throw a bottle at a bouncer, or then I'd fucking whatever. You know what I mean?
Recognized driving a car.
Just whatever. Yeah, get recognized driving a car.
Yeah.
Yes. Or whatever. Suspended license. Some fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
One thing after another.
Well, you looked like your license was suspended.
Telephone harassment. Mob action. Yeah. All this fucking bullshit that I've been charged with both of those.
Really?
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. We should get into my criminal record sometime
that would
on
be
the
fun.
show. My criminal record is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It really is.
That should be our next 100 minutes segment.
We could do 100 minutes on all the fucking things I've been charged with.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, we got charged with mob action one time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was good.
How many people constitutes mob action?
Get this. It was me and one other guy.
What?
And 3 girls.
What?
Yes.
5 people.
Well, we roughed a guy up because he had stolen money from my girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And it was like a year and a half previous, whatever, before. But he had also done a bunch of creepy shit. We didn't like him. He was a general menace to the neighborhood.
Okay.
And so we showed up to where we thought he'd be hanging out, and he was at this convenience store where he always just stood out in the parking lot begging for money and shit.
Yeah.
And we just went up and just fucked him up, just fucking mob style. So we deserved to be charged with mob action.
Yeah.
But then he didn't show up for court. The victim, all the shit, we got off of it.
Yeah,
it was fine.
It was
fine. Yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff.
That's pretty good.
Telephone harassment is a good one. That's a guy that owed me money.
That's pretty extreme.
Yeah, that's fucking guy that owed me money and didn't like me fucking calling him all night, telling him I was gonna kill him and shit.
Oh,
like,
nice.
all kinds of stuff.
Was it a lot of money?
No, it was like $40.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was a psycho. Well, do you remember what I was like when I was in my early 20s?
Yeah.
I was a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
It was nuts. I went over there over $40. I'll just admit this. I went over there with a friend of mine and bashed out all his car windows.
For $40?
Well, it was more because he wouldn't call me back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was more because he was dodging me, as they say.
Right.
And so we go over there. Me and this friend of mine get wasted. And I go, dude, this fucking guy, he hasn't called me back for 2 days. And he owes me $40. We gotta fucking do something about this, you know? And so we drive. It was like fucking 15 miles away. And we drive like 15 miles to this guy's house. And we pick up stones. We creep up around, and he lived with his parents. He was like, he's like 22, 23, like us. We were all on our own, doing fucked up shit, cocaine and handle bottles of rum and shit.
Right.
Doing fucking bashing out window kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we go creep up, and it's at his parents' house, and we take those stupid fucking stones, that people have on their little low garden walls.
Yeah.
Those like interlocking flat stones.
Oh, yeah.
And so we each take 2 of those. And we just go up to the car and we position the stones for easy pick up and throw position. And yeah, we just run, fucking smash windshield, side window, smash, back window, smash, other side, smash, run. We made it, let's see, I want to say 3 blocks.
Oh.
When my cell phone rang. And it was the guy. And he's like, I just saw you guys do that. And we're like, what? Do what? I'm sleeping. And, it's like 3:30 in the morning. Like, yeah, shut up. I'm sleeping. You owe me fucking money, by the way, Yeah. And, well, you got to pay me that fucking money, you faggot. And he's like, dude, we just watched you do that. Like, you guys are wasted making noise on the side of the house. And we just saw the whole thing, He's like, you're wearing a fucking green army jacket and this shit. He had me nailed. And I was just like, fuck you. That wasn't fucking me, you piece of shit. And I want my fucking money, And I was like calling his girlfriend a cunt and all kinds of shit. And yeah, it's just, it was just a very, very, very crazy thing. And that ended up, for some reason, nothing ever came of it. I know they told the police. And now I'm admitting it on my show. I don't really care anymore. But I ended up whatever. So ended up being charged with that, but not the other thing. I don't know, dude.
Not the real offense.
To tell you the truth, the telephone harassment was in regards to another case. Now that I remember, that was actually a mix up, but it led to this story, so that worked. Fuck it.
All right, good.
Yeah, but there's been all kinds of fucking bullshit. What else we got?
There was a riot in a California prison, and it wasn't really a huge deal, except that at the end of it, they found one of the inmates sawed almost completely in half, and some of his organs were missing.
Now we get to why I stopped committing crimes. Because I can't be in there with those fucking animals, dude.
No.
I can't.
No.
It's not happening.
Abdominal and chest organs removed. Oh, God. This was a long time ago, but they kept it really, really quiet. This was in May.
Where was it?
In California State Prison in Solano. Or, I'm sorry, it's called Solano, and it's in Vacaville, Vacaville. It's right outside of Sacramento. Yeah. So this was May 4th.
Fucking Christ, and they took out his organs and cut him in half?
They cut him in half and took his organs out, yeah.
Now, as we know, as we've discussed, the old Vinster likes to watch a death vid or two here and there. And sometimes when I go to some of my old standbys, say gorgrish.com or something like that, I go look on the front page of the featured videos, and it'll be like, man decapitated slowly in Brazilian prison while raped with a knife or something. And you're just like, what the fuck? And you turn it on, that's what it is. People that are just dude, prisons are dungeons, and many of them, they are just locked away and left to become fucking ghouls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not even human anymore.
No,
they're
not
fucking
at all.
Ghouls in these
they're monsters.
Dark corners, dismembering each other and shit. Like, dude, the Brazilian prisons, they got cell phones to film this shit with too. The videos I'm watching are filmed by other inmates.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
For fun.
No, thank you.
That's what's going on in these fucking
I can't
places.
watch that kind of stuff. Even just like reading about it. This was a brawl between 58 inmates, and they initially thought that the guy had escaped before they found his body. They think that now the whole riot and brawl was just a diversion. For some reason, this guy was targeted, and they thought it was all just a diversion planned by a group of people who were going to make a bunch of money off of selling this guy's organs. But they haven't named anybody as a suspect.
They're selling his organs?
Yeah, that's why they took his organs. That's the idea, at least.
Freaking insane.
Yeah. But I'm just imagining, like, just being attached, like, at the spine and being, like, 3/4 of the way open, you know? And just, like, opening, like a mango or, like, a papaya.
Oh, my God.
You know? And then they just, like, scoop out your organs with their hands in there.
The videos, and again, I mean, whatever. I'm not trying to fucking freak anybody out necessarily, but you were open and honest on the show about what we do in our personal time, and that's one of the things I fucking do is, you know. So when you see these videos, oftentimes the purpose is to keep the person alive as long as possible.
Oh, God.
That's fucking what's horrifying.
Yeah.
The cartels, ew,
No, thank you.
You ever seen a good baseball bat beating?
No.
Andrea? Ever watch one of those?
Nope.
Dude, oh my God.
No,
I don't know why.
Can't do that stuff.
I don't know why I do it. It's something about, there's a compulsion that has to do with the fact that everyone has to confront mortality, you know, at some point. And there's a fucked up thing that's going to happen to you. Your death is probably not going to be nice. It's going to be the worst.
Yeah.
You're going to die. It's going to suck. But there's some compulsion I have to know, like, these people went through unimaginable deaths, and, like, they had to actually do it. So for whatever reason, I feel like it's almost a fucking responsibility to me, because I feel like I'm someone who needs to take in a shitload of information, as you might have noticed, you know?
Yeah.
So I just need that. I need to know that perspective. I need to know what it's like to kill and to be killed. I don't know why. I've never experienced it in life. If I had been in a war, I probably would never fucking be interested in this anymore.
No.
I would have, if people who have done this shit in real life are probably, it's like, you don't need to watch that shit, dude. You'll have that in your life at some point, and the less the better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's like a guilt thing where I'm like, I haven't experienced anything bad enough where I'm like, you know, these poor fucking people, I need to know what this is like and carry some of the weight somehow.
Yeah.
Or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You never feel like that?
No, I can't. I recognize
like, what's it
that
like to get your head cut off by a fucking dull steak knife? And I'm like, yo, I gotta fucking watch this. I don't know, like.
See, I'm more inclined to read something really fucked up, but like pictures and video, that's what really gets to me. I can't like look into somebody's eyes that's about to die. That's too much. I can't handle that.
Speaking of that, you know what's the weirdest thing about that is it's not the intensity that you would expect. People can't produce some like meaningful moment just because it's their last one. It's more often just frozen shock.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
That's still
you
pretty.
See people read their own fucking, you know, the cartels will make these videos where they make guys read why they're being killed and to repent for everything they've done and against this cartel and to warn everyone else not to do the same thing. And they know that what's about to happen and they're just detached, like, just, it doesn't look like you would expect.
Yeah.
You know? It's grim and unsatisfying and disgusting in every way. And maybe the way that it's not theatrical, the way that it's just raw and bland is one of the scariest things.
Mm-hmm.
Watch someone get cut open, a human who has a mom and listens to music and likes certain foods and tells a joke and knows a magic trick, and it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you watch them it's just not as impactful as you wish it was, honestly.
Yeah.
It's more just, wow, that's meat. And that's one of a billion people that died. It's just fucking not that impactful. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean, though? It's just, it's disturbingly normal looking. It's like, you know.
I guess if you don't know them, I don't know. I assign a personality to everything.
Yeah, no, it's horror. I mean, on one level, it is horrific, but in just the moment when you're watching, there's nobody's going, "Oh my god, this is like." It's just everyone's just doing it, like chopping up some meat, and then those people are all gonna go on about their lives.
Yeah, they will. And that's pretty fucked up too.
Yeah, the cartels are the worst because they'll be laughing the whole time.
Ew.
Literally enjoying.
They do
themselves.
a lot of like beheadings too, right?
And just fucking like torture in the woods and stuff.
Yeah.
And just the cartels are the ones that do the baseball bat beatings. They fucking just the video will start of just a guy like with his hands tied behind his back in the middle of like a warehouse floor, and it'll just be like 10 different guys take turns beating him relentlessly as hard as they can in the legs and the back with the bat, but never knocking him out. He stays awake, you know. And they just do that until he's dead.
Are they using a metal baseball bat?
Yeah, usually aluminum. Yeah. And it's just fucking whack, 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 just over and over. And the guy, you're like, oh, dude, the worst would be getting hit in the hands, you know, but and like your fingers and shit. But they're just saying, everywhere until they're just a bruised, bloody pulp.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yes. But that guy had to do it. So I had to watch it because I feel for that guy, and I just want to carry some of that like human experience.
Yeah,
I know.
Understand that.
I'll have to go through something. Hopefully not as horrific as a baseball bat beating, but your own death is going to be fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's going to be really bad.
It's like going to be the worst. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you.
I have no desire to carry that kind of thing with me. Yeah,
and it's probably better not to. For whatever reason, I just feel like this fucking vague responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. It's part of how I need to understand life.
No, I avoid that stuff.
That's the possibility, but that's also like I'm a wild ass motherfucker. Like if I went the wrong ways in my life, I might end up in situations where shit like that could happen to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it for me is like it's been more realistic that I would end up getting murdered or something than for you.
Yeah,
you know?
I definitely haven't really ever considered that as an option for myself.
Yeah.
I watched a video one time when I was young it was like a surveillance video where a clerk was about to get robbed and he pulled his gun out and shot the guy. And then he moved the body out of he drags the body into the back room and calls the police, you know?
Yeah.
But I just remember processing it like, holy shit, I just watched the life leave that person.
Yes.
And I just made the decision at that point that I just couldn't. That's not something I want to imbibe.
I watched some live news coverage of the conflict in Somalia, I think it was.
All right.
When I was a kid. And they were showing just live to TV. And it was there was an uprising. It might have been Somalia. I don't know. Okay. There was some uprising going on, and it was in Africa. And there was about 200 people just shaking like a 2-story house. They were all around this house and they were just ripping it down like a mob of people. Shitty fucking construction, obviously, but they were able to fucking literally shake this house. And I think it was maybe a local politician or somebody who had fucked them, you know. And this is live on TV. They're shaking the thing. The guy finally walks out on the porch to try to like negotiate something. And somebody else just runs up and shoots him in the stomach like 4 times, and they cut. You know, oh my god, oh shit,
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I had been watching that by myself. I remember sitting on the floor just as a kid, and I was watching that on TV by myself because I had turned on the TV and I saw this scene. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? You know?
Yeah.
And I remember that being the first time I ever saw somebody die, because it was clear he was gonna die. He just got shot a bunch of times in the stomach, and it was grim, and I remember telling our mother about it when she got home from work, you know, or wherever she was, and I remember just crying, just sobbing, just
oh my god,
and as soon as I verbalized what I had seen, I just sobbed for fucking who knows how long.
4 days.
And I remember her like, why did they show that?
She writes an angry letter.
Fucking 20 years later, I'm like, why are there no more death videos today?
Yeah.
What, I've watched everything?
How?
What the fuck?
I've only been doing this for like 4 hours.
Well, I guess I'll log in and leave some comments.
Nothing left to do but comment on the internet.
Yeah. But that first time is awful.
The first time
you see somebody
die, yeah.
But then I had a couple times in real life where I like happened upon a death that had just happened. Yeah. In New Orleans, one time my friend Kevin comes riding. We both rode bikes for a living, delivering food. And I'm on my way back from a delivery, and he comes riding around a corner in this way of just like, holy shit, you know, and like stops by me. He's like, Vinny, come here. I'm like, what? He's like, do you want to see a dead body right now?
Oh my God.
It's like, okay. And so he's like, follow me. He's like all excited. and we ride over, and like 3 blocks around the corner, there's this guy laying on the ground with a giant hole in his head, just fucking bleeding. Just
holy
dead.
shit.
We're just like, and there's, 10 people around already going like, oh my God, calling the police,
Yeah.
But, there was that. And then there was the time that I was delivering food to the hospital. And in big buildings, when you're a delivery guy, people will understand this who've delivered a shitload of shit. You get used to just going and finding the service elevator for a lot of things and just taking that, instead of fucking around in the lobby and everything. So I just walk in the hospital, went in the fucking tunnel underground thing, and just pop in the fucking service elevator, and it stopped on my way up to where I was going, and they bring in a dead body. 2 guys. Yeah, it was 2 guys, and they looked, and I was holding food, which was weird. I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to have food around a dead body, but like, and then I delivered it, but it was, they looked at me like they weren't sure if they should bring the body, but nobody said anything.
Yeah.
They, like, the doors opened, they hesitated for a second, and then they just brought it in. And then I just moved over to the side, and it was clearly a body under a fucking one of those blue,
Oh, you
sheets.
didn't see it though.
No.
Okay.
It was under the thing,
Yeah.
But they were just taking it to the
wherever,
morgue, I guess. Yeah.
Ooh. I saw someone who got his head smashed by a dumpster landing on him one time when I worked at the dog daycare, and I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and I heard a big crash and someone yelling, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I like peeked around the corner, and I saw a guy laying on the ground, and another guy who was screaming turns around and goes, it fell on him, the chain broke, it fell on him, and it totally crushed his head. He died.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Fucked up.
That was right by you?
Yeah, it happened while I was literally like 14 feet away from it. It was around the corner, so I couldn't see it, but I was right there.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah,
Horrific.
no, it's no good. It's like, it's going to happen. You got to deal with it with loved ones and friends and fucking shit. It just, maybe the less of it you can have filter through your brain, the better.
Yeah, I think so. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like rehashing.
There's enough reality in reality.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Might not need to
or it's a hologram.
Stimulate it on the old net.
We'll see. So why are people in Asia dressing like Nazis?
What does that mean? What does that mean?
What
does that mean, Andrea? What does that mean?
There's a huge fashion trend and like accessories trend in Asia where people are using Nazi costuming and Nazi themed props to wear and use for dance routines, and they have, let's see, they even had a KFC knockoff called Hitler and had a picture of Hitler as the logo in Bangkok.
I'm just gonna say it again. Asians have just been around too long, and they're just fucking bored. Nothing shocks them anymore. They gotta fucking fry dogs alive and dress like Hitler and fucking kick each other in the vagina, and it's just fucking. That's just. There's no. It can't be said enough. Their culture is too old.
Yeah,
it's too old.
They're just out of ideas.
Some of them have been around for thousands of years and like one steady cultural progression.
Yeah,
that's not right.
They're like,
you know,
they're getting to the scraping the bottom of the barrel for culture
it's
here.
Just too long. It really is to have things that are culturally relevant from 4,000 years ago. Like, stop it.
Yeah, just be Nazis.
Reboot.
Yeah, it's time. Just kick everybody out and put new people in. But this is a trend that's, let's see, Korea, China, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Thailand is the worst, and they just fucking love Nazi imagery and Nazi clothing and Hitler. And let's see, a school held an SS-themed sports rally. Thai language books use Hitler in their exercises. And in Thailand...
What the fuck is going on with these? It's just like it's...
Wait, it gets even weirder. In Thailand, students painted a giant mural of superheroes at their top university, which included Hitler, and they all posed Sieg Heiling.
Jesus
all the
Christ.
Superheroes. Yep.
Well, maybe they know what we don't. We've been searching for alternative history on Hitler, and it seems like there's been a lot of lies spread around. So, you know, who knows?
It's now here's what it's super weird about it is that there's this similar trend growing in Mexico, specifically in Mexico City, where more and more Mexican groups and individuals are dressing and emulating Nazi culture.
That's so fucking weird. I mean, it's been like a intermittent trend in American culture in certain segments too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but in American culture, if you sport a swastika, it kind of...
Not necessarily a swastika, but the general imagery. You know, I seem to recall like Madonna shit and stuff that like had a Nazi look, or I don't know. It's been in pop music a few times. Maybe it wasn't Madonna. I don't know, but it's just...
Holy shit!
What was that?
That was a big giant daddy long legs. Holy fuck, that was so big. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, it was on me.
It was on your
God,
arm?
It was on my arm. Oh my god, it was like as big as my arm. Jesus fuck.
What was it? A spider? A daddy long legs?
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
I have no idea. I just whacked it.
Dude, there's been
This is horrible.
bugs attacking
It was
us
so big.
all fucking night in here.
Holy fuck.
I had a beetle in my shirt and a spider dropped on me, which we killed in the break.
Oh yeah.
Triumphantly.
And there's an ant on my chair. What is happening?
Dude, sit down. Relax. Jesus Christ. It's just some bugs.
I hate this.
Sit down.
There's an ant on my chair. Hold on.
All right. The cops who beat Kelly Thomas to death are back in the news. The cop who beat Kelly Thomas to death gets $40,000 a year to sit at home.
Yeah, retire.
Orange County District Attorney Tony Rakakis shows the jury an image of Fullerton police trying to subdue Kelly Thomas at the Fullerton I'm accidentally reading a caption. Jay Cicinelli was one of the two former Fullerton, California cops who was acquitted in the brutal 2011 beating of Kelly Thomas. And for those of you who don't remember, that was the local, kind of well-known, homeless, goofy personality who was known for just getting drunk and being an idiot, I think. And he was beaten to death while he was defenseless, laying on the ground, begging for his dad to save him.
Yeah.
Just another...
Truly sickening.
Just a bang-up job by the boys in blue.
Yeah. No one like them. That's putting their lives on the line for you people.
Yeah, that's what we like. What many don't realize is this killer cop has been receiving $40,000 in annual pension paid out in taxpayer dollars from the city of Los Angeles.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, and okay, so that's not a fucking fortune, but it's probably more than I make. You know, it's
it's a lot more than I make for doing absolutely nothing.
And I'm not allowed to kill anyone, and I've wanted to a couple of times.
Spent a little while talking about it, even.
And I'm not allowed to do shit.
No, absolutely not, because you're a civilian. You get killed.
They call it murder.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing, though, when a cop kills somebody and then they're released from duty. They most often continue to collect pension. Same thing with if they're getting put on a paid leave of absence while something is investigated. They're just getting a paid vacation. I don't understand how it's a punishment. honestly, because their reputation doesn't take a hit, obviously.
I just took a hit. Ooh.
Oh. Little something for you weed smokers out there. God damn it.
I'll let you in on the environment around here. We are smoking some fucking... What is that? Another bug?
I thought it was, but it wasn't.
Dude, you got delusional parasitosis.
No, I hate this.
That's what it is.
I'm going to be uncomfortable for the rest of the time we're in this room.
It's a mental condition where you think there's bugs crawling on you where there's not.
Yeah, I've got that.
I had it when
Big time.
Yeah, I've had it before.
Yeah.
Delusional parasitosis. This
Don't
is no
like it.
fucking good. Speaking of which, these cops are no good. Former officer Cincinnati receiving the pension back before he worked for the small Southern California city of Fullerton. He attempted to rise through the ranks in the Los Angeles Police Department, but that career path was cut short only 3 weeks after graduating from the police academy. That's when he was shot in the face and that's why he looks all fucked up. Remember the cop that was part of that just looks all crazy? Yeah, he got shot in the face.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well,
pwned.
You just got pwned. Cool. So what, is he just going to keep getting paid, or?
I don't know. Who cares? Everything's fucked. This stupid fucking country.
Bitch.
Who gives a shit anymore? Really?
No,
you know what I mean? The fuck are we doing? I used to think we could turn things around.
No, we just have to start over.
I used to think we could change things. Let's have a peaceful, philosophical revolution.
No, it's not time yet. Everyone's still too dumb. Yeah.
We can't.
We just have to have a spiritual revolution and transcend to the next dimension. That's our only option at this point. Or buy an island, like I was saying before. We'll look into the island first.
They will kill us.
On the island?
So far. Well, yes, they must protect the Union.
Oh.
Yes, we mustn't break up the blessed Union, fought for, paid for in blood by our forefathers, young Andrea. Have you not been educated?
Oh, no, sir, I haven't.
Why, this is the greatest land in all the world. The founding fathers set it up so that no one could ever be treated unfairly.
Really?
No, it's retarded and it fucking sucks and we're not free and everything's bullshit and, the average person commits fucking 35 misdemeanors a week because of just bullshit fucking code that's just run amok, and petty code enforcers are running around everywhere using violence to enforce things which don't conflict whatsoever with the overall morals and view of society. We don't even like we don't like our own systems, our own representatives, our own fucking society for and by the people. Fuck you, suck my dick, fuck this fucking place. We'll be back Thursday. Good night.
Good night.